In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Alright folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
Wrong way. Welcome to the place.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started.
The following program contains material of an enlightening manner. Open-mindedness is advised.
Today, I want you to open your mind.
I've almost come to the conclusion that the story is so damning that the mass of people can't deal with it.
We are in process of developing a whole series of techniques to get people actually to love their servitude.
We face a hostile ideology, global in scope, atheistic in character, ruthless in purpose, and insidious in method.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence.
To change the minds and the attitudes and the beliefs of the people of the world, and especially the United States, to bring about one world socialist totalitarian government.
The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
As you connect the dots between different people, organizations, places, religions, history, suddenly the picture starts to form. You don't connect the dots. It's just a mass of what's all this about.
The kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure.
Someone born in the United States is not more special than someone born in Mexico. Someone who is white is not more special than someone who is black. They're just vehicles for the consciousness to experience.
brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people.
War is peace. Freedom is slavery. Ignorance is strength.
Humans as a species are prone to amnesia. Those who do not remember the past are doomed to repeat it. It is thus imperative that these all-important matters be thoroughly explored and not left up to blind faith.
It's about time some of you got acquainted with the real hard truth.
What you are now experiencing is the vibration of air particles being transformed into electrical signals by your senses and DNA, then sent to the brain where they are decoded into sounds. I am your host, Ryan Gable, and you are listening to the Secret Teachings radio program. Our website is www.thesecretteachings.info. That's www.thesecretteachings.info. And if you head on over to the website, you will find a full list of all of our past shows. If you missed last week's episode, the first part of a two-part series, today will be the second part of that series, on how to read food labels and understand ingredients at the supermarket. Also understanding genetically modified organisms and a lot of different synthetic / artificial / natural flavors and what all of those hidden ingredients really mean. We've also got all of the past episodes prior to that up available in the archive. Again, it is free to download and free to stream at thesecretteachings.info. If you click on the archive tab at the very top of the page. You'll also find a top news tab with news articles that we will be discussing today, including a global police force being set up. Told you that was coming for years. Other people have been talking about it for decades. We're talking about the Oregon shooting a little bit today, and some information that you probably never heard in the mainstream, probably not even much of in the alternative media. I have a much different take on these subjects, and if you've read my book, The Grand Illusion Slaves to Perception, you'll know about all of the numerology involved in some of these shootings. And not that numerology in terms of there being some type of psychic, spiritual connection to all of this, but it's almost like a computer program. It's almost like a set of zeros and ones. It's like reading code from the Matrix when we see all of these events correlate with one another, when all of these events become so parallel when we actually connect the dots. I mean, the simplest way to view any of this is to realize that when we have all of these people screaming about guns, whether they're pro or anti-gun, pro or anti-Second Amendment, is really irrelevant, because as people argue and fight and bicker about that, not only is the Second Amendment explicit in that it shall not be infringed, your right to keep and bear arms, but that as everybody argues about it, the main cause for all of these acts of violence, not just necessarily with guns, but with maybe a lot of domestic disturbances, with burglaries, with suicides, it comes down to the medication that these people are on. It comes down to, maybe you call it a mental illness, but regardless of what you call it, at the end of the day, it's that pill bottle on the counter. And it's not that the pill itself is an inanimate object just like a gun is. The pill doesn't get up and go kill a bunch of people. But when you take the pill, it takes control of your body. It messes with your biological chemical system. It creates a disturbance in your brain. And we saw just about a month ago, maybe not even that long ago, we had an article about how Paxil, and this was from the New York Times, Paxil actually creates more depression. It actually creates thoughts of suicide, or at least makes and creates an environment within your mind that makes you want to commit suicide, that makes you more depressed. And I mean, that in and of itself, I've been saying that for years, and all of the mainline studies have even sort of hinted and insinuated that, yes, a lot of these medications actually, especially antidepressants, that in particular is the main issue, that they actually cause depression. So how can you market it as an antidepressant when it causes depression? How can you market diet soda as diet, as a weight loss? Like there used to be, they've got Coke Zero. There used to be like a specific, I think they still sell it. I just haven't been in a regular grocery store for a long time. and I think they sell it. It's like a I think it's sweetened with Splenda, but it's kind of like an off-brand soda, but it's supposed to be for weight loss, but it's full of a bunch of synthetic sweeteners that trick your brain into thinking it's getting food or it's getting some type of nourishment, and it's not. Your body is still going to produce insulin, whether your pancreas is, whether or not you actually get the sugar. And, I mean, this is one of the reasons that we have such an onslaught of diabetes, and that, of course, leads to other effects. Sugar, in and of itself, can lead to a breakdown of the immune system and major causes for inflammation and other types of diseases. And they can market it as a diet soda. They can market, the fact that you can market poison as a food in and of itself is a big red flag. That should just really scream in your face, and you have to put your hands over your ears and ignore it. I mean, on top of all of this, you have, and I've been talking about this for years, even before Planned Parenthood was exposed for being the corrupt eugenics branch of this global eugenics agenda society that we live in. Pepsi actually uses aborted fetal cells from the kidneys of aborted babies. I wonder where they get those from in the flavoring of their beverages. Not only do you get aspartame, not only do you get the high fructose corn syrup, the hidden sugars, the formaldehyde that is a byproduct of the aspartame once it's heated to a certain temperature. I think it's a little over human body temperature. So once you ingest it, your body's warm enough to break this down into phenyl acid and to break it down into formaldehyde. You've got formaldehyde, the first ingredient on most flu shots. I've seen it for myself on the packaging. I shot a video at a local pharmacy talking to the pharmacist, him saying, yes, it contains formaldehyde. Yes, it contains thimerosal, a.k.a. mercury. This is not a game, ladies and gentlemen. This is a plot to sterilize. This is a plot to control. This is a plot to exterminate a large portion of the world's population. And this is not the picturesque 50s after World War II. This is not go down and get a burger and a milkshake and everything's just fine and dandy. We are actually in a fight right now, and there are millions and millions of people who just ignore the symptoms and the signs of a much larger fungus, a disease that is growing on the backside of humanity, because it just is not the right time to talk about it, because football's on, because hockey's on, because basketball's on, because my kids don't need to know about this. They're going to school. I want them to grow up and have a great life. Do you not understand that if you don't take responsibility now, they are not going to have a life at all in the future? This is literally the building of a global prison system. We have a global police force now. The Pope, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, a convicted criminal, coming to America and telling us how we should live, telling us about poverty, telling us about forgiving one another. I mean, you're talking about poverty while you own 177 million acres, one of the top 3 largest landholders in the world, the Vatican City, a sovereign state. You are talking about poverty with hundreds of tons, literally hundreds of tons of gold. You're talking about the truth while you conceal artifacts and manuscripts in a vault underground, which from my understanding, people that have tried to remote view or people that have been to the crypts of the Vatican say that these things are football field sized layers almost, that are just filled with artifacts and information that would rewrite history a billion times over. And you talk about protecting the environment and not harming the environment and protecting the innocents and standing up for each other, and yet you own the largest number of shares in Pietro Beretta, the world's largest arms manufacturer. Don't you people see that this is a grand deception? We are living in a grand illusion being perpetuated, being pushed by false prophets. This is a global prison system that is being established, and if we don't start, and I hear people say that all the time, we don't start doing this something, it's going to get really bad. It's already really bad. It's already really scary, and that's one of the main reasons why people just they go inside and they close up their house and they just say, leave me alone. I've got my kids, I've got my TV, I've got my TV dinner, I've got my pizza. I don't care what's going on in the real world. Well, look, you don't have to be concerned about every issue that I discuss here on The Secret Teachings. I'm bringing you issues from different vantage points, different points of view that all in all, they're encompassed and they come together. But individually, you can take responsibility. And that's why last week on Saturday, we talked about how to read food labels. We got a lot of requests for that. And today we're going to talk about the second part of how to read food labels, go into some of the specifics about food colorings, go into some of the specifics about actual ingredients in certain food products. And as we go through that, it's important to understand that, as Mike D says, this is not King Ryan. I'm not here on a throne. Nobody's paying me to say this. I'm not sitting here with $1 million of pharmaceutical money in my back pocket telling you to take a drug. I'm telling you to stop doing all of this stuff. Wean yourself from the system and begin to take care of yourself and of your family, whether it's purifying water. And I don't care if you buy a water filter from us or you buy it from somebody else, or you just, try to drink clean water. Try to purchase organic foods, and don't be deceived, which is the point of this show today. Don't be deceived by those processed packages that say organic on it. It's still processed. Your body still can't break down a lot of the garbage that's in it. So that's why it's so important, first of all, to take responsibility for yourself and your family, and to take your health into your own hands instead of relying on other people. Yes, doctors can do great things. Yes, if you break your leg, they can put some type of cast, some type of splint on it. I mean, yes, if you have a heart attack, the doctors might be able to save you, but in the long run, they typically make problems much worse. The medical industry is the largest killer in this country. I mean, that is terrifying to know that I literally have a better chance of surviving cancer if I just don't go to the doctor. And you say, well, statistically, they've got a 3% chance of chemotherapy and radiation working. The 3% is not a byproduct of what the industry produces in terms of what they call a cure. 3% is a statistical anomaly, especially when it's a much higher percentage, dozens of times higher, using black molasses and baking soda, using apricot seeds, other alternative methods, which are illegal to use if you're, quote-unquote, treating somebody with your PhD and with your medical license for a cancer. I mean, it is beyond insanity. So I've got some news I want to get to here in the first segment, and I'm probably not going to take too many breaks today. I've been doing that a lot recently. I've been trying to get people to be aware that, look, we're selling water filters now. Nobody's paying me to say this. I bought a ProPure G2 water filter. It filters out parasites, bacteria, and it's an all-in-one filter, so you don't have to buy a second filter. So it filters out the fluoride. It has silver impregnated into the filter. Silver is a natural antibiotic. It filters out glyphosate and other types of heavy metals. That's the filter that I use. It's not very expensive in the long run, especially if you're looking to I don't know if you go to the store and you get the reverse osmosis water or you buy a system. I mean, it's relatively cheap. And depending on what you get, you can save a lot of money in the long term. So that's what I have. But there's other systems out there. I don't care what you get. I'm just providing a perspective from how I take care of myself. And if you want to be, if you want to be part of that, if you want to do the exact same thing that I do, that's the water filter I use. If you want to go do your own research and you think something else is better, by all means, go buy something else in terms of the water filtration system. I've been playing a lot of promos. We're trying to go live. I finally got my computer system up and running. Now I need a monitor. I don't have the money to pay for these things. I'd like to go live 5 days a week. I've just got an offer to do the 5 days a week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to because of work. I can't do this and work and try to sleep and be able to cook all my own food and be able to try to relax all at the same time. There's just not enough hours in the day. So please, if you haven't done it already, I know most of you subscribe to L&M to get Michael's archives. If you have a couple of extra dollars and you go to thesecretteachings.info and you download the shows every week now anyway, every weekend, Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern, every Sunday, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time, 3 hours a night, great guests, great information, timeless topics. You download those shows anyway, please throw us $5 a month. I mean, that I think that's the least that a lot of you could do out there, especially those who email me and say that the show has changed your life. for the better. And I get dozens of emails like that. Please just give us a couple of dollars every month. That really helps support us. I mean, it's not even like I need the money consistently. All I need this month is about $75 more, and I'll be able to get the monitor and get a couple of additional cords that I need to get up to get set to go live. And then we'll be able to take your calls from myself, from Mike D, and obviously for the guests that we have lined up on the program. Next week, I think we have Carissa Flick, I think is her name. We're talking about demon possession and the Horsefly Chronicles. And then we have Aurora K, a woman from Orlando, Florida, who actually takes photographs of people's auras. And my co-host Mike D, who all of you are mainly familiar with, he actually went and met up with Aurora K. That's the name she goes by. And he got his Aurora picture taken. So that'll be kind of fun. We'll talk to them next week. This weekend, today, is the second part of the food program, how to read food labels, how to understand ingredients. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be talking to Brian Ashen, who is a real magician, which will be really fun. He's an actual real magician, not Harry Potter, a real occultic magician in the final hour. In the first 2 hours of tomorrow night's program, it is the 5-year anniversary of the Secret Teachings radio show. Technically, I think it's only the second or third year of the Secret Teachings, but in terms of how long I've done radio and done this show, it's been 5 years. So this show's been the same for 5 years. I've just changed the name in the middle of this expansion. So 5 years of the Secret Teachings. Tomorrow night it will be 5 years, and we'll be talking with Aaron Lamb, a.k.a. DJ Wired, who was always helping us out and always provided a lot of support at our first local radio station in Orlando, Florida. And, of course, Mike D will be there with us, and we'll be talking, playing a lot of fun sound clips and discussing the old days and how this show has really progressed over the years. So that'll be really fun tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as always, for 3 hours. This is the Secret Teachings. We are going to take a very short break right now. When we come back, I've got a lot of news to get into. We've got everything. We're going to be talking about this EPA sunlight claim again. I know that is something that was in the news back at the beginning of October, the end of November. Was it the September? I get my months confused. The end of September, I think it was reported on September 30th. But this is just a really important story because it ties in with everything else, with the banning of language, women pouring drain cleaner into their eyes because they want to be handicapped. I mean, the complete degradation and dehumanization of this culture globally as this new global prison system is built with a global police force, a global prison grid that is equipped with 24-hour surveillance, that is equipped with a global currency, a global banking system, a global court, a global world government that is being established. You cannot deny this anymore. We have it in black and white documentation and an audio form transcript of Loretta Lynch, the new U.S. Attorney General, with Joe Biden, the Vice President. She's going to the UN and talking about establishing this new global police force. They don't call it a global police force, though. They call it an SCN, a Strong Cities Network, by infiltrating the cities at a local level to afflict the global community, to affect the global community. It's a global police force. That's what's being established. They're not going to call it a new world order. They're not going to call it a global government. They're going to call it the TPP. They're going to call the global police force the SCN. They're not going to call it the NWO. They're not going to call it the New World Order. They're not going to call it the world government. They're not going to call it the World Bank, although there is a World Bank. But we're talking about globally, one bank that will control everything. And see, the fact that we have a global bank is kind of a distraction from the fact that what's being set up is far larger, far more sinister than what we already have. And we have to be sure not to get stuck in these roadblocks along the way, arguing about, well, we already have the most powerful military in the world. The U.S. is kind of like a global police force. That's not what we're talking about, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about a global United Nations, NATO, end of sovereignty, end of freedom, end of liberty, globalized, tyrannical state with the boot of tyrants stepping on the face of those who yearn to be free. You are listening to The Secret Teachings. I'm your host, Ryan Gable, and we will be back in just a few minutes. We've got a lot of news to get into, and we've also got the second part of the food label show. I'll get into describing what kind of ingredients are in the food that you should probably be avoiding. Again, the www.thesecretteachings.info is our website. Please go there. Please donate a couple of dollars a month, especially if you already enjoy free downloads of the program every week. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
You walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the super-states that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
As we move to expand and grow the Secret Teachings radio show and the website, thesecretteachings.info, with videos, the free show archive, and much more, we need your support. Please consider donating a few dollars a month, especially if you already enjoy free access to our archive of full-length shows. Visit thesecretteachings.info and click the PayPal tab at the top right of the page. I'm Ryan Gable, host of The Secret Teachings, and we can't do this without your support. Please visit thesecretteachings.info and click the PayPal tab. My name is Ryan Gable, host of the Secret Teachings radio show, and in 2013 I published my first book, The Grand Illusion: Slaves to Perception, which is broken into 3 parts and breaches 725 full-length, no-filler, 12-font pages of information that will lead you from the nature of reality and the human species, our origins and purpose, to suppressed historical and scientific facts that can revolutionize the world we perceive to live. The book details how our planet is being terraformed, perhaps by extraterrestrials, through chemtrails, poisoned food, and the genetic modification of crops and nature. The content then flows through a history of finance, a form of modern-day slavery, and leads us into the detailed arena of occultism through secret societies, symbols, and mass satanic sacrifices from September 11th to the 2012 London Olympics. It provides highly unique points of view on the paranormal, political issues, health and vaccines, and weaves together hundreds of families linked by blood throughout the few corporations that control the world. If you want an in-depth but easy-to-understand book for both novices and experts alike, The Grand Illusion: Slaves to Perception is the book you want. You can purchase your copy at thesecretteachings.info or by searching for the title on Amazon.com. Every purchase goes to supporting one of the last true forms of conscious, unbiased forms of expression. That's The Grand Illusion: Slaves to Perception from thesecretteachings.info or Amazon.com. Do you enjoy The Secret Teachings? Well, now you have the opportunity to help inform others while supporting the program by purchasing our newly available t-shirts both for men and women, along with other merchandise by visiting thesecretteachings.info and clicking the shop tab. We have posters, stickers, and a variety of coffee mugs and cups that you can also use for tea. Whether you spark conversation with the Secret Teachings t-shirts or you want to decorate your home with an awesome poster, just visit thesecretteachings.info and click the store tab. We have what you need and what you want at thesecretteachings.info, so start shopping, start informing, and start supporting the broadcast at thesecretteachings.info. I'm Ryan Gable, and as always, thank you for your support. The right of the people to be secure in their persons houses papers and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. The National Security Agency can't sit there and say we need to spy on everybody in order to collect information so we might be able to catch a terrorist before they act. The FBI sets up most of the terrorist acts.
It took a lot of people away. People that they thought were going to make trouble for them. People that had guns or things they wanted, they just took them away.
Where?
Re-education camps, that's what they call it.
And then people say, okay, well, 9/11, that nobody had any hand in that except the radical terrorists. And at this point, you don't even know who these radical terrorists are, because originally we were fighting Al-Qaeda. Now we're funding Al-Qaeda. We're sending them money. We're sending them guns. We're training Al-Qaeda.
Well, we've got to identify the people who are most likely to be radicalized. In World War II, if someone supported Nazi Germany at the expense of the United States, well, we didn't say that was freedom of speech. We put them in a camp. They were prisoners of war.
I have decided we really need camps for adults.
You don't have the right to just pull somebody over and search their car because they have a bumper sticker on the back that says, support the Constitution or support the Bill of Rights. And they're training cops and they're training the military and they're training the FBI and these different government agencies to look for these patriots and look for libertarians as being the enemy, because originally when this country was founded, they were the enemy, which makes it very obvious to see that the country has been retaken over, that the Constitution has been suspended.
So I'm thinking that is totally appropriate in Iraq, but what kind of a situation in the U.S. would you see that happening?
I mean, we've got a lot of constitutionalists and a lot of people that stockpile weapons.
We cannot sacrifice our liberties for the perception of security. It breeds tyranny. This is why we have to study history, so we can realize when our leaders are following in the footsteps of dictators, no matter how many free handouts they give you or how much they try to scare you with the threat of terrorism, when they support the terrorists, they are the terrorists. All of this justified to exterminate the Republic and create a totalitarian state. History continues to repeat itself. They want to make it easier to control the masses instead of allowing a free society to prosper under the concepts of liberty. That's why they try to take away each and every right one by one, so you don't notice until you have none. But our rights are inherent, established long before governments, and we write them down so we don't forget them. Analyzing the tyrannies of yesterday so we don't repeat them today. You are listening to The Secret Teachings with host Ryan Gable. I am your host, Ryan Gable, and this is The Secret Teachings. Welcome back. Every week I tend to do this. I have a stack of news on my desk. You can just hear it when I drop it. It's massive. And I sometimes I don't even get to most of the news. It's linked up at thesecretteachings.info under the top news tab. What we're going to do now is we're going to get into this news. When the news is finished, I'm not taking a break until I get it finished. We'll take a short break, then we'll come back and we'll be discussing how to read food labels. Part 2, I'll go through a lot of the different ingredients, especially hidden ingredients, what the natural flavors mean, and then go through a lot of the different types of ingredients that, whether you can read it or not, are very, very deceptive. I guess the best word would be, quote-unquote, hidden ingredients. And we'll get to that here in just a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, the EPA says sunlight is not always good for plants. Now, I explained that in detail. I wrote a news article about it. It's at latenightinthemidlands.com. If you scroll down through the news, it should be under the title of 17 Points to the 2030 Agenda, or Agenda 2030, the new Sustainable Development Agenda, which, if you read through the preamble on the United Nations website, you'll realize why last week I actually titled part of the show "To Serve Man," referencing that old Twilight Zone episode where these aliens come to Earth. They promise prosperity, they promise to help man, they promise energy, they promise food independence. All things were being promised now, and when people get onto the ships to go to this world, they're promised a utopia. What we're being promised now, if we just let us genetically modify the environment and terraform the planet, transform it into a new type of society globally, and then with nature just altering and modifying everything, if you let us do that, you'll live in a utopia. But just like in the movie Brazil, just like in 1984, just like A Brave New World, just like every single historical dictator in history, that is not the case. And if you get onto that ship and you go to that utopia, you eventually find out that it's not a utopia, and that when they say they're here to serve you, they mean on a silver platter to their parasite, trash bag, scumbag pieces of filth, globalist insiders. That's where you're going to be served. That's how you're going to be served, on a silver platter with an apple in your mouth over a roasting fire. That's how they're going to serve mankind. So we need to be aware to be able to translate what they're saying to us, because they use the degradation of our language to prevent us from being able to communicate, and they use the plays on words and our ignorant assumptions. I don't mean ignorant in a bad way, but our ignorant, uninformed assumptions of what words mean, what slogans, campaign slogans of hope and change. Hope and change for whom? We get hope, but what kind of change? I remember asking that. Change for the better, change for who? Change that makes things better for you as an individual who barely can make enough money to pay their power bill, or change for the individual who maybe wants to make another $200 million next year? Change for whom? That's the question, and we don't ask because we just hear they're here to serve us, and we should let them serve us because they're vastly superior to us. And in the case of the Twilight Zone episode, the aliens probably were more intelligent than the humans. In this case, these globalist people are not necessarily more intelligent than us. They rely on our complacency. They rely on our dependence. They rely on our ignorance. They rely on the superiority complex projecting an image that you are inferior and that they are superior. So when they tell you that sunlight is bad for plants, sunlight is bad for humans, it just brings light and saves the world from the darkness of night and the cold of the winter and the coldness of night. It does that every day and throughout the year. It allows our bodies to produce vitamin D. It allows plants to grow, but I guess it's bad for plants. I mean, it's just everything is so inverted. Everything is so deceptive. It is really absolute insanity. And it's insanity because every time these people roll these stories out, it's carbon's bad, it's harming the planet, it's the oxygen of plants, but it's harming the planet. Sunlight is bad, photosynthesis, plants need sunlight, but it's bad for plants. Carbon, the basis of human life, carbon-based life forms, but it's bad for us. Human sexuality. Let's teach a 2-year-old how to have anal sex with their classmates. Let's put strap-ons onto these people. Let's put gender-neutral bathrooms up, transgender bathrooms, so you don't know which bathroom to go into, and it's offensive if you go into the wrong one. Destroying human sexuality. Saying that you can't say the word American. You can't say the word master. You can't say the word mother. You can't say the word father. You can't say the word boy. You can't say the word girl, but you can call them purple penguins. You can't say brown paper bag because that's racist. That's offensive. I mean, it has reached a level of absolute emergency status at this point. This is freaking insane. And the people out there who think those are isolated cases, I mean, eventually it would be like watching it rain outside. And you know, everybody's ready. You know, you got your family ready. You're about to go for a hike, or you're about to go for a bike ride. And one person's sitting there from your family saying, I think it's going to rain. Everybody's like, no, it's not going to rain. Don't be negative. And you see one droplet, and everybody's like, oh, it's just one drop of rain. It's not. It's a big drop. So old wives tell it's not going to rain that long. And then another drop, and another drop. Oh, it's not that bad. It's just a little sprinkle. We'll go out in it. And then it starts pouring down the rain, and then you finally realize you probably are not going to go for a bike ride today, especially if you've got little kids. You don't want to people get struck by lightning, or you don't want everybody to get sick. But that's how we view it. And maybe that's a bad example, but that's how we view this. It's only one droplet. It's only saying carbon's bad. It's only saying sunlight's bad. It's only saying human sexuality's bad. It's only saying language is bad. It's only saying that the human race as a species is basically the destructor of this planet. But it's okay. We're still going to go out in that rain. I mean, it's the normalcy bias. It's ignorance. And the worst part about ignorance is the people that choose to be ignorant, the people that know that it's about to rain really, really bad, and yet they go set up the picnic anyway because they're in denial, and then they get caught out in the rain, and then it's just, they just ignore it. Nope, it's not raining. I'm going to sit here, and nope, I didn't get struck by lightning. I mean, it's really just mentally ill, mental illness. So the EPA says sunlight's bad. Going through some of these articles that are brand new articles, I just wanted to explore the gun debate for a moment because this has gotten to an emergency level too. See, there's always these arguments about whether or not is anybody coming to take your guns? Oh, there's nobody coming to take your guns. Oh, there is people coming to take your guns. And there are a lot of very biased perspectives, okay? But as we bicker and argue about whether or not there are policies to take guns, after this Oregon shooting, Obama acts all distressed, and he says it's become routine for me to stand up here at the podium and routine to address you in this manner and routine to talk about another mass shooting. Yet, and we'll get into this in a second, he authorized the bombing of a freaking Doctors Without Borders hospital that killed 19, 20 people, something like that, maybe even more. They still have people that are unaccounted for, and that's okay. Feinstein, Clinton, Obama, and all the rest can sit with armed bodyguards and tell you can't have weapons. Mr. and Mrs. America turn them in, right? And everybody's happy about that because you feel like giving up your firearm that you keep under your bed in case an intruder breaks into your house is somehow going to prevent a mass shooting. All the people that turned their guns in for Walmart gift cards in Orlando, Florida, I saw this happen. It was right down the road from me at UCF, University of Central Florida. All these happy liberal people go out there and all turning your 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, people going with their parents, turning your guns. Here's a $50 Walmart gift card. And all the people that did that stop this shooting in Oregon? All the people that turned in your guns prior to Aurora, did that stop James Holmes? Did that stop Adam Lanza? Did that stop Aaron Alexis? Did that stop anybody? No, it didn't. All you did was give up your right to defend yourself. And not even from the government, but from some whack job drug addict who's breaking into your house to find a couple of dollars so he can buy more heroin or buy more cocaine. But that's okay, because that's the point we've reached, with women now pouring drain cleaner into their eyes to blind them because they feel like they should be handicapped. That's what's being done to everybody. Give up your right to defend yourself. Give up your right to take care of yourself. Be dependent upon the system. Cut your arms off. That's fun. That's hip. That's trendy. That's cool. I mean, literally, that's what's happening now, and we got to pay for it. I mean, this is freaking insane. I wish that there were more people out there who are as passionate and as upset about this that I am. I mean, does anybody else not see what's happening here? Have you never read a history book before, even mainstream history? Have you never seen how tyrants come to power? Have you never seen how countries fall apart and are corrupted from the inside? Ryan, are you insinuating that our government is like Nazi Germany? No, I'm insinuating that it's like Nazi Germany, that it's like Soviet Russia, that it's like Communist China, that it's like Fascist Italy, that it's like the Roman Empire, Part 2. But they'll eradicate history, too. In Colorado, American history is now negative. We're going to teach you about American exceptionalism. That is what happens when a tyrannical system takes over. You lose your freedoms, you lose your liberties, you lose your history, you lose your culture. That's genocide. You don't know where you came from, and now your mind can be molded to whatever the system wants it to be. Let's get into this news, because if I don't, I'm never going to get to it. After the shooting in Oregon by Chris Harper Mercer, and I said immediately, psychotropic drugs, some type of mass medication. And it turns out, of course, he was. Joe Biden, who was with Loretta Lynch when she announced this global police force, says the Second Amendment, this is a quote, the Second Amendment doesn't say you can own a bazooka. It doesn't say you can own an F-15 with Hellfire missiles. It gives the ability of the government to limit, there's a typo here, it should say the type, but it says limit type. So limit the type of weapon that is available. No, it does not. During the American Revolution, the guerrilla warfare style of the militias that fought the biggest, most powerful empire in the world and defeated it, at least perceptually, use the same weapons that they used. We had cannons. We had muskets. We had the same type of weapons that the British Empire had. It does not give the government the ability to limit the type of weapons available. It says that your right to bear arms shall not be infringed. Period. It doesn't say that the government can decide whether or not your right to bear arms can be infringed. It says your right shall not be infringed, period. And an F-15 is not a gun. An F-15 with Hellfire missiles is not something you're using to defend your home from a home invasion. It's not something you're using to defend your family from a dictator and from the Gestapo and from the CPS. Meanwhile, as he says that, as those who say, well, it doesn't say, the Second Amendment doesn't say you can have an F-15 fighter jet. The people that say that have F-15 fighter jets. They have Hellfire missiles. They have bazookas. They have rail guns. They have energy weapons. They have exotic advanced technology beyond anything you've ever seen in Star Trek. The Second Amendment gives civilians access to the equal arms to defend themselves, and it's not a government limitation. If it was, then everybody who has a gun right now would still be using muskets. Okay? We'd still be using muskets, and when the CPS or the IRS comes to your door with guns, why is the IRS being armed with weapons right now? Can anybody answer me that? Why are they being armed to come to your house illegally and basically ransack it as a type of Gestapo intimidation fear tactic because you didn't pay an income tax which was illegal to begin with? Why are they being armed? So what are we supposed to do? Let 50 IRS agents, SWAT team, FBI come into our home, beat our family down, rape our wives, rape our daughters, and just let it happen. And if we shoot and miss, we have to reload the gun real quick. That's not what it's about. We have access to the same arms they do, because if they're not in a position of power in the government, when they retire and go back to being a private citizen again, they've got armed security because of the supposed secrets they have. They have their own private security on top of having taxpayer-funded security. Instead of having the Secret Service, a lot of them have their own private security with guns, with heavy machine guns. I mean, we're not talking about a sidearm. We're talking about semi-automatic rifles. And they stand behind the bulletproof glass with the 500 guards, private security, and they say, everybody turn your guns in now. These people are weasels, and they're sitting there telling you to get rid of your way to defend yourself while they've got a gun to your head. So when they say more people will die if you don't ban guns, or it's your fault if more people die, ladies and gentlemen, that is not a warning. That is a threat. When they say more people will die if we don't ban guns, it's your fault that more people died because we did not ban guns. It's not a warning. It is a threat. I'll say that a third time. It's not a warning. It is a threat. And then we have ignorant celebrities and athletes that get on board with this. LeBron James this week. He says, quote, "There's no room for guns." Really, there's no room for guns. Well, if you live in Chicago where gun violence is up so high and the government just completely ignores it because they have very strict gun laws and gun rules and restrictions there, I'm pretty sure you might want a gun to protect yourself. When every single weekend, like 100 people are shot in one city and dozens of people are dying, but we don't have Obama meeting with the victims of those families. We don't even hear about it in the news. I mean, unless you locally live in Chicago. I mean, I'd like to, if anybody out there lives in Chicago or lives in that general vicinity, please email me and let me know. Do you even hear about this in the local media there? Because I don't see it. I don't ever hear about it anywhere. I mean, once in a great while, you'll hear a story in the USA Today about how so many people were shot and killed in Chicago, and that was it, in Chicago. But see, here's what's happening now. Of course, they're not going to be able to run up and say, we're taking the guns. We win. You lose. That's how we protect this country. Because it'll get worse. It's a threat, okay? It's not a warning. It's not something to be careful about. It's a threat from these people. If you don't give us your guns, we're going to kill more innocent children. It's a threat. Period. Bottom line. They know that coming directly for weapons will create a type of civil war. It will create people shooting back at the police who most of the time are good people and will not do this to begin with, which is why the sheriff in Oregon now is being driven out as sheriff because he supposedly posted a video that Sandy Hook, on social media, that Sandy Hook was a conspiracy and that 9/11 was a conspiracy, and they're trying to drive him out because of that. So much for free speech and the ability to express yourself freely in the land of the free and the home of the brave, which has become the land of the slave. The land of the fees and the land of the slave. Tax, 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 tax. Fee, 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 fee. When history shows that if you cut taxes dramatically, it will grow the economy because people will have more capital, more income, more ability to actually purchase things, to start small businesses, rather than driving them underground and saying, you didn't build that, I built that, someone else built that, that's not your business. How have we even stood for this long? I'm surprised there hasn't been an armed insurrection already. Really, I am honestly surprised that there has not been a militia that has moved in on Washington and just opened fire. And, of course, something like that is really bad because when that happens, they're going to turn that around. I mean, it almost happened at the Bundy Ranch. And they turn it around. There's armed militia here, and it's really scary. It's frightening the civilians, is what they said on the media. I watched those news reports when, in reality, there were cops in the background of the videos beating people down. They were tyrannical, power-tripping, power-hungry pieces of trash beating people down in the background, and the media stands there and says, well, yeah, I mean, one of the main problems we have here is that there's a lot of people who believe in the Second Amendment, and they have guns, and it's really scary in the local community. And it's so easy to control the media and the perception of people who watch television because all you have to do is go find and interview people who agree with your point of view. If they interview somebody who says, no, I think it's great that there's a militia outside, they're not airing that. So you talk about whether or not you should ban guns. And now here's the thing. We've been right the whole time because now instead of just saying, well, we need to ban guns because a lot of people are dying. Again, it's a threat. It's not a warning. Over the past couple of weeks, as we hear more and more about this Oregon shooting, the week of that Oregon shooting, the weekend prior to that shooting taking place, there were 98 people shot in Chicago. 13 people, a number that you're going to consistently see coming up here in the next 40 minutes, were killed. 13 people were killed in mass shootings in Chicago. I say mass shootings because, 98 people shot. That's like, what, 10 mass shootings that happen occasionally, once in a while, and those are the ones that are blown out of proportion? Why doesn't the media go to Chicago and say, look, 98 people were shot, 13 people died, ban guns? Because in Chicago, they basically have banned guns. And the people that are doing the shooting are the freaking criminals. How difficult is that to understand? A 4-week period, according to the Chicago Tribune, a 4-week period in August, 40 people were shot each weekend. That's 160 people shot in 1 month. How many mass shootings do we hear about a month? We hear, and unless one just happened, we hear about one, and we're going to hear about it for months on end. And how many people die in those? Maybe 20, maybe 30? You never hear more than about 35 people die in one of these mass shootings. 160 people. More people are shot on a weekend in Chicago than in any of these mass shootings of the past couple of years. 160 people were shot in Chicago in August, according to the Chicago Tribune, and there's no media coverage that says we need to take away guns because they already did it, and the only people that have guns now are the criminals who aren't registering their firearms to begin with. And that's part of a globalist type of agenda to, as they ban guns, to break down civilization. Over 2,300, according to the Chicago Tribune, a local newspaper, only 2,300 people, 2,300 people were shot in Chicago in the last year. Wow. And we spent we're still spending billions of dollars on Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, Libya, Egypt, and every other country we've occupied because 3,000 people died on 9/11. And almost that many people were shot in Chicago, no media coverage. We'll take it a step further because there's a narrative that's part of this larger agenda, that it's not, just like 1984, it's not that we were fighting Al-Qaeda. No, Ryan. We've never been at war with Al-Qaeda. Now we've always been at war with ISIS. Now it's okay to load up Al-Qaeda on big C-130s and fly them into Syria. It's part of the opposition to Assad. It's okay to fund Al-Qaeda now because we've never been at war with Al-Qaeda. This is the 1984 Eric Blair, George Orwell society now. I mean, this is insane. We've never been at war with Al-Qaeda. We've always been at war with ISIS. We've never been at war with Islam. We've always been at war with white males. We've always been at war with veterans. We've always been at war with gun owners. That is what is literally happening if you open one eye halfway and you have more than one brain cell active at a time. You can tell very easily. I mean, it has gotten to points of insanity now where the Los Angeles Times, this is from the Associated Press, Los Angeles Times labeled, this actually came from Breitbart, but it was from the Associated Press. The Los Angeles Times labeled the Oregon shooter as having, quote, white supremacist leanings, end quote. Even though the guy was black. Probably blacker than our fake president is. They called him a white supremacist, even though he had a black mother and was identified as mixed race. They literally, I say literally, they literally changed his photograph to make him white. They literally altered the size of his nose and his lips to make him look more Caucasian. You can't make this stuff up. It's like the photograph from some South American country the media used during the Baltimore riots to say, look how bad things are, buildings are burning. Actually, that photograph came from South America. It's just like the toppling of the Saddam statue in Iraq, which was actually initiated by the U.S. military. And there were maybe a handful of Iraqis who I'm sure were driven to the site anyway. But look, see the pictures on the front of the big magazines and newspapers. Iraqis celebrate overthrow of Saddam. They got people screaming, and it's just chaos, screaming and yelling and showing their teeth in the photographs. And it was initiated by the U.S. military. The pictures of the people Assad supposedly killed with the chemical munitions. Photographs they used were from Iraq. Dead people that I'm sure our soldiers probably killed as part of collateral damage. Because that's what we've been really good at. That's what we've become really good at. Kill everybody, and we'll just call it all collateral damage. Kids, moms, dads, doesn't matter. Collateral damage. There's a hospital. One guy in there might be Taliban. Don't even worry about authorizing some type of investigation to determine and using some type of strategic surgical method to extract this man. We'll just bomb the whole hospital. Who cares? We'll blow the whole thing up, and if anybody says anything, we'll call them terrorists, conspiracy theorists. We need to take their guns away because they're mentally insane, and they'll find some puppet piece of shit psychologist who will go up and say, yeah, this veteran, he lost his mind. He thinks 9/11 was an inside job. Take his guns away. You get your money automatically deposited through Social Security or any type of government assistance directly into your bank account. You're mentally incompetent. They should take your guns away. This is literally the policy being rolled out. And I'm not some NRA talking head here. I have no stock in the NRA. I don't care about the NRA. I don't care about Charleston Heston or whatever his name is. I don't care about any of these gun-toting, backwoods, conservative freak shows. What I care about is history. And in every single case historically, when guns are taken away, mass genocide follows. Mass genocide will follow, whether it's in Turkey, the Soviet Union, Germany, Cambodia, Guatemala, Uganda, or China. Mass genocide followed when people had their guns removed, when people had the ways to defend themselves removed by force. That's when people start dying. And it's not even by a tyrannical, genocidal, maniac type of government. It's just simply a matter of 2 + 2 = 4. If you take guns away from people that use them legally, that get them legally, and you only allow criminals to have guns, people are going to die. It's a fact. People are going to die. That is a warning. That's not a threat. A threat is saying, if you don't give us your guns, more people are going to die. And you say, I'm not giving you my gun. I'm going to use it to protect myself. I got the Second Amendment. This is America. Go to some fascist country. This is not Italy. This is not Germany. This is not the Soviet Union. This is not China. This is America. If I want to have a gun, if I want to have 10 guns, I'll have 10 guns. Get out of my face. And they say, okay, bring in the kids. Bam, 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 bam. Don't you feel bad you didn't give up your guns? Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. Here, take all my guns. Good. Get on the train car. Okay, just don't kill any more kids. It's a freaking threat. They do it with a gun to the head of your child. So CNN, the LA Times reported it, Associated Press, Breitbart.com, they changed the color of this man's skin, and then the Associated Press, LA Times report that he was a white supremacist. He wasn't a white supremacist. The guy was black. I mean, it's like Clayton Bigsby, the blind Klan member from the Chappelle Show. He didn't even know he was black. And then he divorced his wife because she loved him because he was black, because he didn't like blacks. But he was black. Okay, I'm sure that there probably are people out there like that. But this guy was not white. He was partially black, just like George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman was not white. George Zimmerman was black, Puerto Rican, and like 5 or 6 other different associations genetically. He was not white. They change the narrative, just like they altered the photographs from BP on Photoshop. They changed the color of Chris Harper Mercer's skin. They changed his nose. They changed his lips. Just like they altered the 911 tapes for Zimmerman. Just like they edited booze into the results of the Ron Paul straw poll and the debates back in 2008, I believe it was, where he made a speech and people were clapping, but they didn't show the audience. They didn't show this. They showed boo. They edited the audio in to alter your perception that people liked what Ron Paul was saying. So they changed his face. Oregon shooter. Let me get to this real quick. Oregon shooter, gunman dead after college rampage. This was obviously from the beginning of the month. I read through this article. It's a large article from CNN. Now, the reason I bring this up again is because this story is far from over. This story is going to persist until another mass shooting, basically. So what happens is I read this story, and boom, I start seeing very strange correlations. First of all, they always relate this shooting, the most common, one of the most common themes is they always relate the current shooting with past shootings. So they say that Chris Harper Mercer had a manifesto too. I mean, if you ever start writing a manifesto, you might want to check your brain for microchips because you're probably under some type of Manchurian candidate mind control. He had a manifesto. He identified with Vester Flanagan, from what I understand, the fake Virginia shooting of the news reporter. He identified with past mass shooters. So they always have to do that to bring the story full circle. They say, like at the Boston bombing, it's terrible. There's kids that died, and by the way, there were a bunch of victims of Sandy Hook there. A lot of the family members. So remember Sandy Hook. Even if this is 3 people died, and the police, after they declared martial law in Boston, killed more people than the bomb did. I mean, really? At the end of the day, if it's about safety and protection and keeping people alive, really, I mean, in all logic, wouldn't you rather a pressure cooker bomb go off, if it was even legitimate, because it was probably set up by the FBI, wouldn't you rather a pressure cooker bomb go off and kill 3 people rather than let some bloated government come in and say, we're going to protect and save everybody, and they slaughter millions in the name of the 3 people that died? You slaughter millions of children in the name of 3,000 people that died on 9/11. You overthrow Gaddafi, who wanted to basically sell Libyan oil for his people in gold, not the U.S. dollar. Taken out. They took out Mubarak in Egypt. They took out, they're trying to take out Assad in Syria. What did he do? Can anybody answer? Without reading the New York Times, what did Assad do? Chemical weapons, you say? Well, that's funny because the United Nations actually showed that the rebels, backed by the West, used the chemical munitions. And then when they went in to test for them, they assumed, it must have been Assad that used them, even though they were used in a rebel-controlled area. The rebels used them. That was the United Nations reported on that. Assad also decided, I'm going to sell Syrian oil in gold, not in the U.S. dollar. I'm going to sell things in gold, period. No more U.S. dollar. Take them out. Don't you see that this is a global system, that this is a monster that is just rampaging through the countryside, rampaging across the globe? It's consuming everything in its wake. And everybody looks at it and they say, that's not a monster, that's a big teddy bear. I want to give him a big hug. Oregon shooting. Let me get back to this. Oregon shooting. 13 guns. So 13 guns, by the way, that this shooter, Chris Harper Mercer, had. And why that's important is because in this article from CNN, they even say he, quote, legally purchased, end quote, them. He legally purchased the weapons. So what does that mean? Well, that means Senator Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut, is a Democrat, proposed legislation that right after the shooting, so he must have had this already written up, or he can type really, really fast, proposed legislation to ban gun sales without a background check pending beyond 72 hours. How does that make sense? Okay, let me look at these 2 articles separately. One over here, one over here. This article to my left is from CNN. It says that Chris Harper Mercer, the Oregon shooter, legally purchased weapons. Then I look to the right. Senator Blumenthal says we need to propose legislation, and he does, to ban gun sales without a background check. But if I go back over here, Chris Harper Mercer apparently passed the background check and got 13 weapons. And I go back over here, we need to ban gun sales without a background check. He already went through the background check, and he still got the weapons, and he still killed people. The weapons are not the problem. It's the pharmaceutical drugs are the problem. It's the degradation and the manipulation and the inversion and the distortion of our culture and society by these globalist, parasite, trash bag, scumbag pieces of garbage. That's the problem. Not guns. Not a background check. See, this is all part of another plan. They know that background checks obviously don't do anything at all. If you want to kill somebody, you'll grab a knife, you'll go at him, and you'll stab him. It doesn't matter. When they say they want a background check, that is about registration. That is about getting a list of who has weapons. That is getting a list for the future. When it does come time to confiscation, which Obama is now talking about, we need to go to a system like Australia, just ban guns outright. If we're not going to be able to ban them, people think that, what did he say? People think that every attempt for me to regulate gun sales is an attempt to sacrifice their liberties. It's some, quote, plot. I remember he said plot from me. And he's, and all the hip trendy people go, ha ha ha, yeah, that's so funny, Obama. Why would you want to take people's guns away? You're black. You love people. Black unemployment's doubled under your watch. 50% of black babies don't get born from Planned Parenthood, but ha ha ha, you're a great man. This number keeps coming up too that really bugs me, and I'm sorry I jump back and forth so much. From NBC News, 13 guns recovered after Oregon College shooting. So that relates to the CNN article. They found 13 guns. Now, why do these numbers keep coming up? 3, 12, 13, 7, 32, 33. In order, 3, 7, 12, 13, 32, 33. In this article, there's a direct line here that comes from Special Agent Celine Nunez at the Umpqua Community College, saying that, quote, all 13 firearms were purchased legally. Going back to Blumenthal, we need background checks. No, you need a registration so you know who has guns, so when someone disobeys or steps out of line, you know where to go and get them. They know registration is only registration. They know it's not going to stop shootings because they're the ones doing the shooting. 13 firearms purchased legally by the shooter or a family member in the last 3 years. Now, they use that number 3 again. 13 weapons purchased in the last 3 years. I'm looking at two important. This is a very important line in this news article. All 13 firearms were purchased legally by the shooter or a family member in the last 3 years. First of all, 13 and 3, 13 and 3. There's those numbers again. Go back to James Holmes. Go to Adam Lanza. Go to the Navy Yard. Go to Nadel Hassan. Go to the mall shootings. Go to the Sikh temple shooting after Aurora, Colorado. Every one of those cases, either the shooter's either on SSRIs, psychotropic, psychological, manipulating, chemical, biological drugs, or on top of that, they didn't do the shooting at all. They're on the drugs, and somebody else did the shooting. The 4 armed guards that came into the movie theater in Colorado did the shooting, then left, blamed it, and they blamed it all on Holmes, who was locked in his car, who couldn't even walk straight. The same 4 armed guards that came into the Sikh temple. And then they blamed it on Wade Michael Page, who they say had a 9/11 truth tattoo but couldn't show it to us because of national security. And that same 9/11 truth tattoo, white, gun-owning American who just wants to be free and wants to be able to spend time and take care of their family, they're the real enemy. Because they have morals and because they have a code of ethics. And this system has none. And they have to eliminate all people that have the ability or have at least the passion to say, no, I'm protecting myself. I'm protecting my family. You don't have the right. I have the right. Just like Joe Biden. The Second Amendment, Uncle Joe, does not give you the right to tell me what kind of guns I can have. It does not say that. What version are you looking at? Because the version I have, an exact replica hanging up here on my wall, uses the word shall, uses the word not, uses the word be, uses the word infringed, period. It doesn't say the government can decide who has guns and what kind of guns they get. It says your right to bear arms, to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed, period. There is no other interpretation of that. All 13 firearms purchased legally. They say the shooter purchased them, which would basically eradicate any need for a background check unless the agenda was to basically catalog everybody. And they say, or a family member. That's important because that shows you right there, obviously, and it should just be like anybody home? Obviously, if a family member purchased the guns, then he had access to the guns. Just like if you banned all guns, look at the crime in Britain. People will murder each other with anything they can get their hands on. Look at all the knife right, was it after Sandy Hook? There was a guy who went into a classroom. It was I don't remember, so excuse me. It was either Japan or China, and stabbed 22 kids with a knife. Are we going to ban knives? I was in a car wreck when I was a kid. I still suffer really bad neck and back pain. If I was to die in that car wreck, should we ban the car that hit my car? I mean, this is beyond insanity, and nobody understands history, so they don't see when the empire is being built. They don't see the Death Star being built. Let's move on. Oregon shooter said to have singled out Christians for killing in horrific act of cowardice. They always use this word, cowardice. First of all, you know, and I got a lot of slack. Not a lot of slack. I got a lot of flack for this. When I first started radio, I got people that called in who were angry with me. The station was angry with me, simply because I said, you know, and they call the people that strap bombs to themselves and blow themselves up in the name of Allah or whatever, that they're cowards. Let me tell you something. If you're strapping a bomb to yourself and you're running into a building to blow things up, you can make a case morally that, you know, you're scared and you're a coward. You want to get out of life. But, I mean, those are the people that slit their wrists and they're emo all the time and they're crying, life is so bad, let me cut my wrists and cut my throat. It's just ridiculous, okay? Because the people that strap a bomb, I mean, imagine that. Knowing you're going to die, you strap a bomb to yourself and you run into a diner and you blow everybody up. I mean, really? That's an act of cowardice? I don't think so. I think that they say the hijackers were cowards. If there were any hijackers and the planes weren't remote controlled, or they weren't holographic projections, they weren't running some 1962 Northwoods agenda, then I would think that being able to get onto a plane knowing you're going to die and hijacking the plane and flying it into a building is pretty much the opposite of being a coward. Now, from America's standpoint, it's an attack, so obviously the way that we project ourselves on them is to project them lower than us. They're inferior to us. They're cowards because they did this. But no, I mean, that takes a lot of balls, really. I mean, how many of you out there for any cause would strap a bomb to your balls or to your shoe, or which is all FBI backed, the underwear bomber, or strap a bomb to your chest and run into a building and scream as you detonate it and blow everybody apart? How many people out there? This is beyond the point, but you understand what I'm saying. It's not an act of cowardice. I mean, it's just a way when they use these words to discredit and to make these people seem inferior. So we look at them and say, "What a coward! What a coward for killing himself." You can make an argument for that, but they say that he asked Christians or asked people, "Are you a Christian?" They said yes. It's like George Carlin said, "Are you, or do you believe in God?" Yes. Do you believe in my God? No. And they'll shoot you anyway. The insanity of religious dogma. But this, remember this? Doesn't this? I didn't even read it. This whole article is like 9 pages. I honestly didn't even read the whole thing. But in this article from the Washington Post, Oregon shooter said to have singled out Christians for killing in horrific act of cowardice. Who else did this? Didn't the Columbine shooters do this? Which, again, relates back to Columbine and reminds us the people that died. It's so terrible. It's SWAT team, FBI, CPS. They come into your house and they say, "Give us your guns." And you say, "I'm not giving you my guns. I'm an American. I've got rights. Second Amendment. My right to bear arms shall not be infringed upon. My right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed upon." Period. There's no interpretation of that. Period. It's not your right to determine what kind of guns I have, so I can have a musket and you can have a .50 caliber on the back of a Toyota truck that you give to ISIS. That's not what the Constitution says. That's not what the Bill of Rights say. I've read them. Maybe you should read them. I have it right here. Maybe, you know, these people that wear the American flags, maybe you should try to research and understand what all that really means. I mean, if anything is genocidal, and we should get getting rid of any flag, not the Confederate flag, maybe it's the American flag. A lot of blood. A lot of blood. Most flags. A lot of blood. Side point. And besides that point, I've got articles here I got one from InfoWars that links to the, if I can pronounce this right, the Oregonian newspaper in Oregon. So this antidepressant, or excuse me, let me repeat this. Let me take a breath. Infowars.com, antidepressant drugs connected with innumerable other mass shootings. Now, this article in particular discusses SSRI drugs. It discusses lithium as a drug that causes different types of psychiatric conditions. Of course, lithium is used in water in Japan to prevent suicides. It's used as an antidepressant, but in this medicated form, it causes depression, like the Paxil story we read about, and how most medical journals are completely falsified, and that Paxil creates feelings of depression. Paxil creates a feeling in you that you want to kill yourself and commit suicide. That is why these people are committing these crimes, ladies and gentlemen. It's because of the drugs. How about a background screening? If Blumenthal wants a background check, if Obama wants a background check, they need to do a background check on your psychological condition if you're seeing a psychiatrist and if you're on any type of psychotropic drugs. That's the first part of the background check that should be ran through. Really. And I can figure this out. They can figure this out. Okay? I'm 24 years old. I went to 1 month of community college. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in audio production and film. I can figure this out. These college graduate, Yale University, skull and crossbones, tie a string to your ball sack and tell everybody your deepest, darkest sexual fantasies. These Harvard law students, they can figure it out too, okay? Really. The InfoWars article links to a report from the Oregonian newspaper, Oregon shooter, new details emerge about Chris Harper. And the article says, just like I said before the article was posted, this guy was on pharmaceutical drugs, just like every other mass shooter. The article says there are a number of indications that Harper Mercer had mental health and behavioral issues, just like Nadel Hassan, just like James Holmes, just like Aaron Alexis, just like Adam Lanza at Sandy Hook, just like Ivan Lopez. The article says his screen name on some social media sites was Lithium Love. They say lithium is used as a psychiatric medication. They say that he had learning disabilities, that he had mental illness, that he was, and here it is again. I mean, really, if you haven't read The Grand Illusion yet, go to thesecretteachings.info. The price just dropped. If you want a soft cover, it's $25. Pick up the book, buy the PDF on the website. Not only do you support this show, but you get something tangible. Print the PDF out. You've got the book if you buy the soft cover. Flip through it if you don't believe me. I wrote this 3 years ago that in every case, and I went down a list of all the titles they give to these people. Here it is again. A darker picture emerged of slain Umpqua Community College shooter Chris Harper Mercer as a deeply troubled. He's deeply troubled. He's a loner, right? Even though he was in the school play. Anti-religion. He's anti-religion. Columbine. Remember. Columbine. Anti-government. He's anti-government. Recluse. Obsessed with guns. I mean, how could you... I'm not a Christian. Or maybe I'm more of a Christian than all you fake ones out there. But I'm not of any religious affiliation. But in terms of the origins of this country... You're anti-religion, you're anti-government, you're a recluse, and you're obsessed with guns. I mean, how could you identify an American any better than that, really? Because the country was founded on people, even though it was supposed to be a Christian nation. Don't give me that, because this country was formed and founded on the principle. A lot of the founding fathers were not Christians. The point is, though, pilgrims came here to escape persecution from religion. either of their religion or they wanted nothing at all to do with religion or the church, period. Separatists who wanted to separate entirely from the church, or Puritans who wanted to escape persecution for their beliefs. Anti-religion, anti-government, recluse, obsessed with guns. I mean, how... I don't care if it's an Oregonian newspaper or it's CNN or Fox. It's the same narrative every single time. And they talk about, in this article, he had screen names with his obsession with lithium and other drugs. There's reports out now, ladies and gentlemen, that the kid was on multiple medications, did not know what he was taking, and in one post he wrote, quote, "I have a pill bottle with like 5 types of pills mixed in. I don't know which ones are sleep aids, so I just took 4 of each." End quote. This is from his profile. I have a pill bottle with like 5 types of pills mixed in. I don't know which ones are the sleep aids, so I just took 4 of each. Right here. Right here. Right here. It's right here. Drugs again. Drugs again. Drugs again. Drugs again. Drugs again. It's the pharmaceutical drugs again. At this point, I mean, it should be extremely obvious what we're dealing with here. I have a few more articles, and then we will take a break, and we will come back with a little bit of a lighter subject, but talk about health and how, if we can understand the ingredients in our food, understand why we shouldn't support certain companies, that's how we can have the most dramatic effect in countering all of this information that we've been going over here in the first half of the show. I mean, if we can understand that it's the fault of the drug companies who spend $2.4 billion a year lobbying and in advertisements, probably way more than that, and all these mass shooters are on these drugs, that's the main cause of the problem, and it's not the guns, the inanimate objects. It's the chemical imbalances caused by the Paxils, which actually cause depression, which cause thoughts of suicide. You can hear it in some of the drug ads. May cause thoughts of suicide. It's a freaking antidepressant drug. Why would it cause thoughts of suicide? Why would it make me more depressed? That's like going to a car dealership to get your car fixed, and they say, yeah, we fixed it for you, and you go and try to start the car, and there's no engine in it. And you think, oh, that's great. Look, it's fixed, and you're so happy about it. You just said there was no engine. Because that's the image. It's a Diet Coke, so it's good for your diet, even though you'll gain more weight. Assuming that the main cause of diets is to lose weight. Obama administration and United Nations announced global police force to fight extremism in the U.S. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. Put on the broken record, we are not at war with Al-Qaeda. We have always been at war with ISIS. We are not at war with terrorists. We are not at war with Islam. We are at war with gun owners. We are not at war with Al-Qaeda. We are at war with ISIS. We are not at war with terrorists. We are at war with vets and gun owners. We will send soldiers into the front lines to destroy cultures, commit genocide, rape women, destroy children's lives, destroy family lives, kill children, destroy entire nations to install puppet dictators, because 3,000 Americans died on 9/11 due to 9 of 19 hijackers still being alive. We'll invade countries that had really nothing to do with 9/11, because 15 of the 19 hijackers was from Saudi Arabia, and now there's 28 pages of a 9/11 report that haven't been released, which implicates Saudi Arabia as one of the main leaders in, at least involved in creating all of these conflicts and orchestrating 9/11. Israel's right in there too, believe me. And we're supposedly fighting Al-Qaeda. Now we're funding Al-Qaeda? And now we're fighting ISIS, and when Russia says, no way, we're going to blow up the actual cause of these problems. We're going to go in and target the main HQ of ISIS. We're blowing it up. And the U.S. government says, how could you do that? How could you blow up the opposition to Assad? How could you kill innocent civilians. And I'm thinking, I got dropped my pen. I had to pick my jaw up off the floor when I read that in the news, that Russia killed innocent civilians while bombing Al-Qaeda. How dare they? And I'm thinking, this is the same week that Obama launched an air attack on a hospital in Afghanistan that killed 19 people, and they're going to lecture Russia and the world on killing civilians? Get the hell out of here. Aerial bombardments blew apart a Doctors Without Borders hospital. I'm sorry, I skipped the extremism article. That is the article I'll come to in just a second. We'll take a break. We're almost out of time for this, the first half of today's show. Aerial bombardments blew apart a Doctors Without Borders hospital in the Afghan city of Kunduz, killing at least 19 people. Here's those numbers that come up again. This was reported on October 3rd. 12 staffers died, 7 patients, including 3 children. 3, 12, 7, 3. This is a gross war crime. You don't shoot at ambulances. You don't shoot at the Red Cross. You don't freaking blow up hospitals. This took place during the 6th day of fighting between Afghan government forces supported by U.S. air power and military advisors and the Taliban. And by the way, both sides made notifications of the warring factions, where they were, and that they were not using the hospital as a base. If you're so happy about this Zero Dark 30 and the strategic involvement of the U.S. Navy SEALs, send in a team like that to get the Taliban. Don't bomb a hospital with kids in it and Doctors Without Borders. This is just like the 1960s USS Liberty, where Israel bombed an American communication ship, and they kept doing it even though there was a U.S. flag flying high in the sky. Same thing, this article from CNN reports the bombardments continued even after U.S. and Afghan military officials were notified the hospital was being attacked. And they went on for a half hour and continued to bomb it. And then our glorious leader, who makes the sun rise, even though it's bad for plants, I understand that, and makes the stars twinkle at night, says the Department of Defense has launched a full investigation and we will await the results of that inquiry before making a definitive judgment as to the circumstances of this tragedy, end quote, says the president. Quote, I expect a full accounting of the facts and circumstances, end quote. Well, you know what, Obama? I expect a full accounting of the facts and circumstances of the number of millions of innocent people you have authorized to slaughter in the name of American imperialism. I would like to know at the same time how you can tell Russia, how dare you for bombing Al-Qaeda, how dare you for bombing Al-Qaeda and killing innocent civilians when you authorize drone strikes on an hourly basis and joke about it? People were burned to death in their freaking beds. And then we look at Russia and say, how dare you bomb Al-Qaeda? How dare you bomb these moderate rebels? Good for Russia. And now people think, oh my God, he must be an insider for Russia. All the trolls. You can't see it right now, but I've got both middle fingers in the air. You know exactly where to go, all the trolls out there. I'm so sick and tired of this. This is common sense. And then the media attacks it. Russia killed civilians. Russia killed civilians. Russia killed civilians. Let's go to war with Russia. Great, because China just got on board with the bombardments of Al-Qaeda. So I'll tell you what. Excuse me. As this global police force is set up, announced by our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, calling for strong city networks, the SCN, which will be a global police force, and the TPP, the Global Government Treaty, which will basically restrict the internet, block whistleblowers, get a stranglehold on all forms of media. I'll tell you what, Lindsey Graham, the Bushes, the Clintons, Obama, especially John McCain, John Kerry, And all the rest of you out there, if you want a war with Russia, you want a war with China, you want to overthrow Assad for your corporate fascist business interests, then you can pick up a gun, you can get on the C-130, and you can fly overseas. I don't care if you go to Syria first. I don't care if you go to Russia first. I don't care if you go to China first. And you can go and you can open fire on the front lines and declare war against Russia or against China. Because you don't have to be a biblical scholar. You don't have to be really educated past first grade to understand that that will cause, I say World War III, World War IV, whatever you want to call it, it's going to cause the extermination of close to billions of people, including these carbon taxes and this world government. We're talking billions of people. This is how they're going to exterminate people. Is this how they're going to do it? If you want a war, you get on the plane, you go over, you open fire. And for all of you out there who are thinking, I'll join the military. It's a great way to learn skills and make money. Good, because when you come back, they aren't going to care if you are alive, dead, if you can't walk, you have one limb. You ain't getting health care. They'll put you on a don't treat list and say you can't have guns. Go ahead, go fight for the empire and see how much the empire cares about you in the end, because they'll throw you aside, they'll throw congressmen aside, they'll throw senators aside, they'll throw presidents aside. What do you think they're going to do to some pawn on the front lines? Some animal, as Henry Kissinger calls soldiers on the front lines. His words, not mine. I'm Ryan Gable. This is The Secret Teachings. Our website, www.thesecretteachings.info. Please go to the website. We've got G2 Pro Pure water filter systems there. They get rid of fluoride, parasites, bacteria, heavy metals, and all sorts of other contaminants. We get a small portion of the profit from that when you buy the water filters or the shower filters. The shower filters, which filter out chlorine so it doesn't vaporize and get into your lungs. It's basically cured up all of my dry skin conditions. We've got the shower filters there as well. We've also got merchandise. We've got my books, The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception, and False Prophets and the Lovers of Children. And until the next book comes out, The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception is probably the best thing you can buy right now to really get educated on everything that we're discussing, including so much more. It's 738 pages. Please go to Amazon.com, type in The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception, and it'll pop up. It's on sale. Actually, no, it's not on sale. It's actually been reduced in price. It's $25 now for 738 pages. That's massive. All that research you don't have to do. It's right there. We've also got the PDF at thesecretteachings.info. For all of you out there who don't have that much money, maybe you want to donate a couple of dollars, you can do that on the website under the PayPal tab, under the big flashing arrow at www.thesecretteachings.info. If you enjoy this show, you appreciate what I do and how I live my life just like I present information to you, and you download the show anyway, please donate a couple of dollars each month. We're just about ready to go live, hopefully by the end of the year. I'm Ryan Gable. This is The Secret Teachings. When we come back, we're talking food labels and much more. Stay tuned.
Wake up out there. What's wrong with you, man? I've been drinking the water. This is one of the best discussions I've been on in a long time. You guys are right on it.
Howdy, this is Joe Mars, and you're listening to The Secret Teachings.
As we move to expand and grow the Secret Teachings radio show and the website, thesecretteachings.info, with videos, the free show archive, and much more, we need your support. Please consider donating a few dollars a month, especially if you already enjoy free access to our archive of full-length shows. Visit thesecretteachings.info and click the PayPal tab at the top right of the page. I'm Ryan Gable, host of The Secret Teachings, and we can't do this without your support. Please visit thesecretteachings.info and click the PayPal tab. My name is Ryan Gable, host of the Secret Teachings radio show, and in 2013 I published my first book, The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception, which is broken into 3 parts and breaches 725 full-length, no-filler, 12-font pages of information that will lead you from the nature of reality and the human species, our origins and purpose, to suppressed historical and scientific facts that can revolutionize the world we perceive to live. The book details how our planet is being terraformed, perhaps by extraterrestrials, through chemtrails, poisoned food, and the genetic modification of crops and nature. The content then flows through a history of finance, a form of modern-day slavery, and leads us into the detailed arena of occultism through secret societies, symbols, and mass satanic sacrifices from September 11th to the 2012 London Olympics. It provides highly unique points of view on the paranormal, political issues, health and vaccines, and weaves together hundreds of families linked by blood throughout the few corporations that control the world. If you want an in-depth but easy-to-understand book for both novices and experts alike, The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception is the book you want. You can purchase your copy at thesecretteachings.info or by searching for the title on Amazon.com. Every purchase goes to supporting one of the last true forms of conscious, unbiased forms of expression. That's The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception from thesecretteachings.info or Amazon.com.
You are listening to The Secret Teachings with host Ryan Gable.
Do you enjoy The Secret Teachings? Well, now you have the opportunity to help inform others while supporting the program by purchasing our newly available t-shirts both for men and women, along with other merchandise by visiting thesecretteachings.info and clicking the shop tab. We have posters, stickers, and a variety of coffee mugs and cups that you can also use for tea. Whether you spark conversation with the Secret Teachings t-shirts or you want to decorate your home with an awesome poster, just visit thesecretteachings.info and click the store tab. We have what you need and what you want at thesecretteachings.info, so start shopping, start informing, and start supporting the broadcast at thesecretteachings.info. I'm Ryan Gable, and as always, thank you for your support. Most local municipalities clean their water with harmful chemicals like chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine. Many add toxic forms of fluoride, which has been proven to lower IQ, create infertility, cause depression and weight gain, along with causing cancer. Some cities don't even have control of their water or what goes into it, as they have sold out to multinational corporations. Add to this the fact that bacteria, viruses, parasites, and other harmful contaminants are added to or somehow seep into groundwater along with pharmaceutical drugs. Glyphosate, the main ingredient in Monsanto's Roundup weed killer, known to be carcinogenic by the World Health Organization, and a chemical that destroys gut bacteria, has contaminated groundwater along with high levels of radioactive isotopes and mercury. But now you don't have to worry about any of these factors affecting you or your family's health when you purchase a ProPure G2 water filtration system. These filters are simple to assemble and occupy little space. They are NSF certified, and unlike other filters, these are silver impregnated and remove up to 99% of fluoride, heavy metals, pesticides, herbicides, glyphosate, and even hexafluorosilicate and hydrofluorosilicic acid, the latest forms of fluoride. They have all types of sizes to fit your family's needs, from the ProPure Traveler, ideal for 1 to 2 users with a 1.7-gallon capacity, up to the ProPure King, ideal for larger families with a 4-gallon capacity. In these tough times, one of the simplest and healthiest things you can do is drink clean water and use it in other applications around your home. Please visit thesecretteachings.info and click on the ProPure water filtration link at the top of the page to get your water filter system today to help keep you and your family safe and healthy while also supporting the Secret Teachings radio show. I'm Ryan Gable, and this is the water filter system that I use to clean my water.
Hi, this is Chip Reichenthal, author of the book Even the Dead Won't Tell You the Truth, and host of the show Beyond the Norm. And you are listening to the wonderful Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable and Mike D.
With the medical industry being the leading cause of death in this country, I mean, it's up to you. You want to listen to the PhD's perception of of what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat because they can pronounce really fancy words, and because they have a white lab coat on and a rectal thermometer they can stick up your ass. You want to listen to them, who kill more people than, I don't know, illegal drugs that kill more people than most of the diseases they're supposed to treat you for? Or you want to listen to somebody who's independent, who's not being paid, and who has felt the healthy effects of eating this way? It's up to you. You know, I'm not going to shove a rectal thermometer up your ass or give you any type of big pharma terrorist pills, but it's up to you what you want to believe.
These companies know that it's bad because they start removing ingredients because people start complaining. But up until people start complaining, they'll just leave it in because they make more money with it being a chemical concocted goo than actually having any kind of real ingredients.
If you look at a company like Amy's will say non-GMO. Amy's will sometimes say organic, but they don't actually have the third-party verification, which in that case means that you have to rely on the integrity of that company to determine whether or not they're telling you the truth. These products that are 100% USDA organic, that are organic or made with organic ingredients, are still a step above the conventional type products. And I think it would be much better to eat these than it would be to eat the conventional stuff. But at the same time, if you're buying a product in a box, I mean, most of the time, it's not really that good for you, and it's probably always processed. And you probably really don't want to be eating it too often.
They think you're dumb, and they think you're stupid, and they think that they can just put anything they want to before enough people start complaining and get sick. But we just need to show them that, there are people out there that are awake and with their eyes open, and we're not going to eat this. We're not going to support your company, and we're not going to buy your garbage food.
That is very true, Mike D. I'm Ryan Gable, and this is The Secret Teachings. Coming up on the second half of today's show, we will be discussing how to read food labels at the grocery store and how to understand ingredients. If you missed the last hour of today's program, or really the last hour and 30 minutes, we've been talking about gun control. We've been talking about the Oregon shooter. We've been talking about the numerological connections to these different shootings, the pharmacological connections to these different shootings. We've been talking about serving man and what that actually means as these globalists, as these elitists, as our supposed world leaders, a.k.a. world misleaders, tell us they're here to serve us and bring us into a utopia. And then they don't ever allow us to look into the history books, because if we do that, we see that every time we've been promised a utopia, it breeds a totalitarian, tyrannical Gestapo state. And every time they say, get on this spaceship, we'll take you to a utopia. And I say, look, serving man doesn't mean they're going to serve and protect you. Serving man means they're going to literally put you in an oven and serve you on a silver platter. That's what serving man means. And at this point, we, I think, have, if you're not at least open to this information at this point, then I don't think there's any hope. So really, if you still think that I'm insane, I know more people listen to this show that hate it some nights, at least extensively. More people listen to the show, obviously, that like it. But in terms of how long you're listening to the broadcast at any given time, people that hate us listen to the whole thing because they want to try to find any and every detail of where I mess up or I mispronounce something so they can make a new documentary. They've had movies made about me now, documentaries about myself and about Michael, because we haven't sold out. I mean, I don't know really what the reason is. Just because you're lazy, you live in your sister's basement, I don't know. But the trolls just, I haven't had much trouble with trolls. I've really tried to stay away from bridges, and I think the trolls have not been able to find me because I take different routes. I don't know what it is. Anyway, though, you are listening to The Secret Teachings. The website is www.thesecretteachings.info. Just a reminder, we have T-shirts there, The Secret Teachings T-shirts. We've got sweaters, coffee mugs. We have a donation tab. You can donate to the program if you download the program every week anyway for free. Please send us a couple of dollars a month. Also, we've got the ProPure G2 water filtration system. It gets rid of bacteria. It gets rid of parasites. It gets rid of funguses, different types of heavy metals. It gets rid of fluoride in the same filter. You don't have to buy an additional filter. It gets rid of different types of other contaminants like glyphosate. I use it. I also use a shower filter. It filters out the chlorine. It prevents most of the time, depending on how cold it is outside, it prevents dry skin, which I've always had an issue with since I've been a baby. And it's basically helped to alleviate a lot of those problems. If you'd like to check out the water filters, at least look at them. It's thesecretteachings.info, and then you click on the ProPure G2 water filtration tab at the top of the page where the black bars are. You'll see, if you go to the website, you'll see a bunch of black bars with white tabs at the top. Click that link and check out the water filters. Of course, my book, The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception, it's now $25. It's dropped in price, and hopefully by the end of the year, not only will we be live, the more donations we get, the faster we're able to get there. I'm looking to get a computer monitor. I might actually get one for free, but I'm probably going to have to purchase one, and I think I've only got about $40 in donations towards that in particular, so we need a little bit more because those things can be expensive. But other than that, I've got the new book coming out. So The Persistent Illusion hopefully will be out by Saturnalia, a.k.a. Christmas. And it's just, I haven't even had time to sit down and write a little bit of a review of how I'm going to present it, because the book is not just a compilation of The Grand Illusion and False Prophets and The Lovers of Children, which you can also get at Amazon.com. It is all of that and much more, including a massive section on extraterrestrials with photographs from NASA, photographs from the European Space Agency, photographs from Russia. I mean, it is just a compilation of everything with an underlying theme of genocide and the terraforming of planet Earth by an outside extraterrestrial species. It is just, I think it's the greatest work that I've ever done. I was proud of The Grand Illusion, proud of False Prophets, but this new book coming out, and it's not even for sale yet, so this isn't a pitch. It's not going to be for sale for probably another couple of weeks, maybe a month or two. It is just great, so please look forward to that. And False Prophets and Lovers of Children, The Grand Illusion, both of those books out now, Amazon.com, thesecretteachings.info. Let's go ahead and get into some of this food, though. Last week, and I played the clip there with some segments from last week with the music in the background with myself and Mike D. Mike D not joining me tonight, but he will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern to midnight for 3 hours, along with Aaron Lamb, a.k.a. DJ Wired, who's a good friend of mine who was with us from the beginning of our radio stint. And as we move up on 5 years now, my anniversary, 5 years of radio for myself. The show's actually older than that, as Dimitri Crane, the original host of The D Show. That's how I got into radio. I later took over the show when Dimitri died, and I changed the name to The Secret Teachings. 5 years of The Secret Teachings now. Technically 2 years of The Secret Teachings, 3 years of The D Show, but 5 years of radio for myself. Tomorrow is the 5th year anniversary, so we'll be talking about all of that. Mike D will also be with us to talk to Brian Ashen, a real-life magician, tomorrow night. So that'll be fun. You don't want to miss that. You can check out all of that information as well at www.thesecretteachings.info. Last week we discussed free-range, cage-free, fat-free, which basically means more sugar, more fat, 100% USDA organic compared with, quote, made with organic ingredients, which means there only has to be 70% organic ingredients in that package. We talked about non-GMO verification. We talked about contains no GMOs as a label. We talked about a non-GMO product that's not organic and an organic product that's not non-GMO, even though organic products are not supposed to be used, or at least GMO products are not supposed to be used in an organic product. There's supposed to be no bioengineered products at all. We talked about natural flavors, all natural, 100% natural, and the difference between Mike D's natural potato chips, registered trademark, Mike D's organic potato chips, registered trademark, and USDA certified organic, meaning organic potatoes, whatever else the ingredients might be, which that's all you need. I mean, if you're buying chips with more than potatoes, oil, and salt, maybe pepper, you shouldn't be eating them, period. That they put plastic and resin and lighter fluid and BHT and chemicals. It's really bad for you. Your body can't even digest it. Natural flavors, artificial flavors, vegan flavors, vegetarian. Ladies and gentlemen, I still don't know what a vegetarian flavor is. I don't know if you lick a vegetarian. If you go to a vegan restaurant, you just start licking people. I don't know what a vegan flavor is. And it's even scarier when you buy a chicken and it actually says chicken flavor. Well, of course, it's chicken. It should taste like chicken. Or they put chicken flavor, which means it's a chemical. Or maybe the most notorious of all, outside of natural flavors or natural flavor, is just simply flavors. That could be anything. So remember that if you read an ingredient list and it says natural lemon flavor or flavors, that's different than simply natural lemon. Or that's different even more so than organic lemon juice. There's a big difference between organic lemon juice and organic lemon flavor because they'll use that word a lot. They'll say organic natural flavors. Well, it's synthetic. It's artificial. Be careful with that. Look for the word raw. Look for the word organic lemon juice. Don't buy it if it says flavor. That should be implied when you buy a food. If you buy, ketchup, for example, I've never seen this, but I'm sure this will be the future, and it says ketchup flavor on the back, but there's no tomatoes in it, don't buy it. That is not real in any sense of the word. It's real in terms of physical reality and matter, but it's not actually real tomatoes. It's just chemicals that are dyed red. It's gross. If you don't think it's gross, I'm not putting people down and I'm not talking down to you. But if you feel offended, it's probably because subconsciously you know that I'm right and you're really worried about not being able to make the right decision for yourself and your family, which is why we're doing this show anyway. Looking at the ingredient list and seeing the word spices. Spices could be anything from MSG, a.k.a. autolyzed yeast extract, to any other type of chemical you can think of or imagine. However, if the ingredient list says spices, in parentheses it says mustard seed, for example, then that's what the spices are. But if you see an ingredient list that says spices, comma, in parentheses mustard seeds, that means the mustard seed is separate from the spices, and it might actually mean MSG, comma, mustard seed, not spices, comma, mustard seed. Spices, parentheses, mustard seed. There'd be a big difference there. So it's really, really important to understand what we're putting in our mouths, one, for health reasons, one, because of the anger and the depression and the hatred that can be bred from not taking care of yourself psychologically, subconsciously, and physically and spiritually. Two, because in the long, long run and even in the mid-run, it's cheaper than filling yourself full of processed garbage your body cannot break down. Your body's powerful. It's intricate. It can handle a lot. But eventually, your immune system says, I can't do this anymore, and it goes on vacation. And then you're susceptible to a sneeze. So you have to take care of yourself. And if you're worried about, I don't know, if you're worried about child sacrifice, if you're worried about geoengineering, if you're worried about GMOs, if you're worried about political corruption, if you're worried about, globalized warfare, the New World Order, you're not going to be able to fight any of this at a local level unless you are healthy. And that's not me selling you a product. That's me telling you that when you eat food, not processed stuff that looks like food. We've talked about ascorbic acid and citric acid. They claim that it's an acidity regulator. They say it's a vitamin C. It's a synthetic form of vitamin C. They claim it's an antioxidant. Citric acid, though, and MSG are basically flavor enhancers. MSG in particular is an excitotoxin. It creates a chemical addiction. And citric acid, by the way, actually comes from Aspergillus niger, which is a fungus. Literally, that's a fungus. So when you buy any type of food, packaged or not, like in a box or in a bag, regardless, and it says citric acid, you're literally eating a fungus that is genetically modified. And I've explained the details of why that's bad. And you have not seen the long-term ramifications of this because it hasn't been going on that long. I mean, when you feed a rat GMOs over 3 months, they grow tumors the size of a baseball. They go sterile in every single case. The Russian media reports on this. The French government won't admit it, but a lot of French scientists have done studies and proven this. And Monsanto attacks these studies while not releasing studies past 3 months within their own organization, because they know that past 3 months, which in human years is right around the corner for how long we've been eating these, the rats go sterile within 3 generations, maybe even sooner. They grow cancerous tumors. They become extremely unhealthy. That is what's going to happen to a mass majority of society if we keep eating this garbage. Why do you think that tribal natives that still live a traditional ancestor lifestyle don't have diabetes, don't have high rates of cancer or cancer at all, don't have heart disease, don't have a lot of neurological issues, if at all, when they're relying on the local medicine men to take care of them? And yet, the big bloated American steps in and says, we've got the best health care, we've got pharmaceutical drugs, we've got $10,000 surgeries, we've got millions and millions and billions of dollars in advertisements and lobbying because the drugs work. We've got surgeries for everything, and I can eat synthetic foods, and if it starts to kill me, we've got surgery to reverse that. You people are primitive and scared of science for not wanting to eat genetically modified organisms, for not wanting to eat a fusion bomb that just sets the gene sequences off like a chain reaction out of an atomic weapon. And who knows what will happen? Supposedly, when the first atomic bomb was detonated, the scientists didn't know if it was going to just create a chain reaction that would engulf the planet. You think GMOs are any different? They don't know. Gene splicing and gene guns and bacteria and fungus and mold and genetically altering things. They don't care about your health. They don't care about feeding the world because it shows, it's been proven over and over again on organic farms. Organic farms can produce more than GMO crops. It has been proven over and over again. It costs more to grow genetically modified crops than it does to grow organic crops because you need additional chemicals on top of the seeds, on top of not being able to harvest the seeds because the company owns the patent on them and you're stealing their intellectual property if you reuse the seeds. But they're Terminator seeds, so you don't even have a choice to reuse them. You have to go back to the company and buy them again. It is drastically more expensive. And that drives prices at the supermarket up. And then you buy them because you're supporting that industry. You get sick. Now you got to pay more medical bills. And then that's another reason things are so expensive. It's not the farmer's fault. It's not 100% your fault either. I mean, this ties in with big biotech and the big banking cartels, but at the end of the day, you've got to take responsibility. That's why I'm doing this show again today, so we can understand. Citric acid doesn't come from pineapples. It doesn't come from oranges. It doesn't come from lemons or limes. Aspergillus niger is a fungus that they feed genetically modified bacteria. Aspartame is literally the diarrhea of bacteria. And just like MSG, it causes inflammation in the brain and it causes neurological disorders. On top of the aluminum and the mercury and the vaccines, is it any wonder autism is skyrocketing? I mean, if you went to one of these tribal nations and people that have never seen a phone before, and you'd look at them and think, they're so primitive. Look how ignorant these people are, wearing hardly any clothes. I've got a nice suit on and a tie. Look at how fancy I am. I can't wait to get back to the first world so I can get in my Mercedes and drive down the street to the supermarket. I don't have to grow my food. I'm not primitive. Well, they don't have any cancers. They don't have diabetes. They don't have, a lot of the times, they don't even have tooth problems. Because when they eat that raw vegetable, it actually cleans your teeth. Literally. They don't need dentists. They don't really need... there's some diseases. Of course, there's some diseases that the first world has been able to cure due to different forms of bacterias or funguses outside of GMOs. I'm not talking about that. But we're talking about things that modern medicine has been able to cure. Sanitary conditions, of course. I'm not bad-mouthing medicine in general. I'm bad-mouthing big medicine. I'm bad-mouthing the first world problems. High fructose corn syrup, HFCS. Do not buy anything with high fructose corn syrup in it. And they show these commercials with the guy and the girl's giving the guy a popsicle, and he says, "No, don't you love me?" And she says, "What do you mean?" And he says, "That's got high fructose corn syrup in it." She says, "High fructose corn syrup? All high fructose corn syrup is good for you because that comes from corn." And then they show kids frolicking through cornfields, and they show butterflies, even though they all died when they introduced the GMO corn. That's why the Monarch is used as the third-party verification sticker label for non-GMOs. But they love us. Big Biotech loves us. And you're stupid if you don't eat high fructose corn syrup, right? Because they're paying me to say that, and I want to be able to buy a third car. I mean, it's insane. It's insanity. It's insane. High fructose corn syrup, a liquid sweetener, very cheap, very cheap. Prices of sugar are extremely high. High fructose corn syrup, very cheap. 1960s, Japanese scientists found a way to transform glucose into a sweeter sugar molecule called fructose. That is why it is a blend of 55% fructose, 45% glucose. It's actually fed to honeybees because it's a low cost of sugar or a low cost of sweetener. This is probably what's leading to colony collapse disorder. And by the way, Monsanto that produces the genetically modified corn, that high fructose corn syrup is extracted from, bought up B-Logics, which is the company that is leading in research into why the bees are dying. Now, you don't think that would be any bit of a conflict of interest? You don't think they're going to curb the research away from the actual responsible parties, the responsible substances? This high doses of sugar into your body and the overworking of the pancreas creates diabetes, type 2, hypertension, weight gain. But that's okay. We've got modern medicine. We've got suits. We've got BMWs. We've got fancy $100,000 medical machines. It's okay. They'll chop your limbs off. They'll pull drain cleaner in your eye because that's cool. You need to be handicapped. Taxpayer pay for it because we've got wheelchairs. We've got medical technology that can attach an arm. It'll look like real, but it's a robotic arm because you saw it in Star Wars, and it was cool. Chop your arm off, get a robotic arm, be a transhumanist. That's cool. That's cool. It's okay. By the way, when you heat up HFCS, high fructose corn syrup, it releases a deadly chemical called HMF, hydroxylmethylfurfural, which is deadly to bees. But we'll never find that out in research because the company that researches colony collapse disorder, CCD, is B-Logics, which was purchased by Monsanto, which sells seeds to produce the corn for which the high fructose corn syrup, the HFCS, is derived from in the first place. By the way, if you also heat HFCS past 120 degrees, so if you're grilling with it in barbecue sauce, whatever you might be doing with it, the HMF levels increase faster and faster and faster. It's just like when you fry foods with high carbohydrates, it creates acrylamide, which is a cancer-causing chemical. Or amines, which when you cook foods and you brown them, it's carcinogenic. It's called the Maillard effect. That's why you have to cook with water or oil or something so the sugar and the proteins don't bind together. Dextrose, glucose, cane sugar, brown sugar, all of these are sugars. All of them affect your immune system. Your body can break down about a teaspoon of sugar, 4 or 5 grams at a time. If you read the back of a lot of packages, if you eat a simple granola bar, it contains more sugar than your body can break down at one point, which means it's going to start to store it, which means sugar turns into bubbling fat, like we learned on SpongeBob, the chocolate episode, so you're going to gain more weight. So when you're eating or you're drinking these diet products that are fat-free, that are loaded with additional sugars, a lot of hidden sugars, and you think it's fat-free, it's good for me, there's no fat, well, that sugar is going to turn into fat. That fat-free product is deceptive. You're going to gain more weight if you consistently eat that. Okay? Kick calories in the butt. I'm tired of hearing about calories, because if you eat fat-free products because you think they are fat-free, because you think you're going to lose weight if you drink this diet soda with aspartame in it, you are wrong. You will gain more weight. You will probably develop diabetes if you do it on a daily basis. We consume hundreds, on average, hundreds of, I think it's like 450 sodas per person per year. Hundreds of sodas. That is gallons of syrups, gallons of heavy metals, gallons of chemicals, gallons of bacterial feces, which literally breaks down to formaldehyde, embalming fluid in the body, and embalms living tissue. Hundreds of gallons of this a year per person, on top of the mountains of sugar that we consume in a year. Wheelbarrow fulls. So I'm saying, back away from all this. Here's some other at-risk ingredients that you should probably avoid. And remember, I'm not charging anybody for the show, so if you go to thesecretteachings.info, www.thesecretteachings.info, you can download last week's show for free. Both shows last week. The first part of this food show on Saturday, and then the Sunday show, not about food, but we had Dr. Richard B. Spence on. I also talked about Agenda 2030. That show is free as well. Tonight, Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday, The Secret Teachings. Tonight's show, you can download for free, hopefully by either tomorrow night, after tomorrow night's episode is over, or by Monday morning. It'll be free. You can pause this as I say these different ingredients, and you can write them down. Here's a couple of at-risk ingredients. Get a pen if you want to write fast. If not, you can download the show later for free. Some at-risk ingredients: modified starch, soy lecithin, GMO, textured vegetable protein, cornmeal, margarines, unmodified starch, glucose, syrup, fructose, crystalline fructose, lactic acid, sodium benzene, which really stay away from that. That's a carcinogen in and of itself. And when you mix that with other types of, I think it's sodium, sodium benzene, and then there's another type of sodium. If you mix it together, it's in a lot of cheap orange juices, which don't even really contain 100% oranges. It is an immediate carcinogen. Aspartame, also known as NutraSweet, Canderel, E951, Beneva. I mean, what are you doing? You at a restaurant and you're having coffee. Can somebody pass the E951? I mean, what is this? Some science fiction movie? Benevia, amino sweet, and creatine. Those are, I mean, so if you think I'm buying this gum and I see labels for it at the store now, no, this gum contains no aspartame, and then you turn it over and there's either NutraSweet, Canderel. I've never seen E951 in a product. If you do, send me a picture of it. Benevia, amino sweet, or I've seen amino sweetened products, or creatine. These are all names for aspartame. It's like the government's Echelon programs or the FBI's Carnival program. We're shutting Carnival down. Wait a minute, it's still running. Yeah, well, now it's called Wolf. They gave it another name. I forget the name they gave it, but they gave it another name. They just changed it. Look, listen. Obama, look, listen. Here's some more ingredients. Sodium benzoate. That's actually, if you combine sodium benzoate, which is a salt derived from benzoic acid, and you mix it with vitamin C, it becomes carcinogenic. MSG, or E621. That'd be a double. Is that what the point we're going to get to? Hey, Bob, what's in that candy bar you're eating? Well, I got E951, E621. I mean, it's like reading code from the Matrix. So E621, which I've never seen in a product, but MSG, that's the technical name, otherwise known as autolyzed yeast extract. I've seen ingredients that say contains no MSG, and then on the back it says autolyzed yeast extract. That is MSG, monosodium glutamate. And if you increase the levels of glutamate in your body, in your brain, then it will create neurological disorders, and that is a scientific fact. Caramel colorine, which Mike D and I talked about last Saturday with that pumpkin spice latte. Vanilla. Now, if you see the word vanilla, just vanilla, most of the time, vanilla, if it doesn't say vanilla extract, raw vanilla, vanilla bean, or those are the best. If you see it vanilla bean, organic vanilla bean, that means it's actually vanilla. If you just see vanilla or vanilla flavor, it's not real vanilla. It is usually a synthetic chemical sweetener, or it is straight up feces. And when I say feces, I mean aspartame. Molasses is the same. I just learned these, by the way, within the last 6 months. Molasses, if you just see the word molasses, just like the word vanilla. If it doesn't say organic molasses, raw molasses, it's probably going to be aspartame or some other chemical synthetic flavor. And that's all that it is. It's a flavor. If you buy mustard, you don't need to be told it'll taste like mustard, because that's why you're buying it to begin with. If it says mustard flavor, it's not real mustard. Same thing with the ketchup example I've given. If you're buying a cookie that says contains chocolate flavor, or I'll give you a better example, there's these protein powders. At one point I was going to buy to try to save money, because when I was living out of my car, as we'll discuss tomorrow night on how this show really expanded. I did the show for almost a year, basically living out of my car, and I went to a Whole Foods, and I was trying to get something that was really cheap so I could use it two, sometimes 3 times a day if I didn't have enough money for food. And I went and I saw this one product. It was supposedly organic, non-GMO, fair trade chocolate, and it was a chocolate, not a protein powder, but it was like an all-encompassed I think it's called One Meal or something like that. You've probably seen this at the store. And inside of it, it had chocolate flavor, natural chocolate flavor, artificial chocolate flavor, and chocolate, which most of the time is laced with sugar. It didn't even say raw cacao, which would be real chocolate without the sugar. By the way, when they wash and they beat and they dry the cacao beans, they lose most of their antioxidant property to begin with. So you're not getting any antioxidants, mainly, and you're getting a bunch of sugar, which cancels out the remaining antioxidants and basically cancels out your immune system and makes you really sick. But it'll release endorphins in your brain, and you'll be happy because you've got a chemical addiction to it. Sugar is it's a gateway drug. Really, it really is. So, here's some other ingredients that you might want to stay away from. Again, you are listening to The Secret Teachings. Our website is www.thesecretteachings.info. Please go to the website. Support the program by donating. This is not a walk in the park for me. I choose to do it. I've done it for years. I've had apartments and done this at my apartment. I've done it at big-time CBS radio stations. I've done it at college radio stations. I've lived out of my car doing the radio. Even today, I've got hardly any money to my name. I'm doing this because I love it. I'm only asking for support so we can grow this show even more and eventually go live. We got support. That's why we're able to go Saturdays 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern and Sundays 9 to midnight. Now I'd like to go 5 days a week, but I need your support because I can't work 8 hours a day, do this, because this is more than 3 hours. This is an hour of preparation, 2 hours of preparation, an hour after, 2 hours after. We're talking like a whole other day of work here for one show. And that's how it is in most radio, if it's a good radio show. So I need help. Whether you're buying the books, which will help you as well, the water filters, which will help you as well, or you're straight up donating to the program at thesecretteachings.info. A lot of the times, anybody that donates to the program, I usually send them a book anyway in PDF form, just so you know. Another ingredient that is overly processed in bread. This is really disgusting. If you're eating right now, I would really honestly suggest that you put down whatever you're eating, because this is gross. If you look at overly processed breads, I'm sure Wonder Bread has this. I used to love Wonder Bread, all the dots and the colors. It's kind of like the veil. And if you lift that veil, you'll find this ingredient called L-cysteine. L-cysteine. Now, where does this product come from? It's in processed bread. I'm not making this up. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. It actually comes from human hair that is swept up off of the floors of Chinese hair salons. I will repeat that. One ingredient in most processed breads is L-cysteine, sourced from human hair that is removed from the floors of Chinese. They use China for the source of a lot of this. Chinese hair salons. Personally, I'd like a slice with GMO butter. In reality, that's disgusting, and I would never eat that. Please watch out for that ingredient. That's just a gag factor. If you can stomach that and you're okay eating Chinese hair, go ahead. I'm sure they make it in other ethnic varieties, so you don't have to be racist. But, I mean, that is really gross. A lot of baked goods also contain hydrogenated oils, which are prevalent in junk foods. They should be avoided at all, especially if you already have heart problems, because hydrogenated oils lead to more heart complications, stroke, and nervous system disorders. They also block the absorbing of fatty acids in your body, omega-3s, things that people take fish oil pills for. So if you're eating a lot of junk food and thinking, oh, I need more omega-3s, I'm going to eat nuts and eat fish, and, well, stop eating the junk food. You might not need to balance your body out like that. It also alters your blood sugar levels and could perhaps lead to diabetes if you eat them long enough. Hydrogenated oils are in almost everything. I even found, and these aren't even about GMOs, I even found non-genetically modified popcorn. Even got a couple bags. I had a couple boxes of this within the last year. And then, as I learned and I read, I realized that there was one type of hydrogenated oil in it. And all that was non-GMO corn, salt, hydrogenated oil. And the company had multiple different brands, and some of them were non-GMO and organic hydrogenated oil. Some of them were organic, no hydrogenated oil, just organic popcorn and salt. And some of them were non-GMO hydrogenated oil. Some of them were hydrogenated oil conventional. Some of them were regular oil and it's just, there's so many factors that go into this. It depends on what you're trying to stay away from. I'd stay away from hydrogenated oils permanently, just period. Titanium dioxide. It is a powdered sugar. Dunkin' Donuts says that they have removed it from their powdered sugar on their donuts. It's also in vitamins, a lot of vitamins and supplements in any store, even health food stores. Vitamins and also makeup. It is in large doses, if you're putting makeup on your face every day, a carcinogen, and it destroys the immune system when it is consumed. Propylene glycol. So the first one was titanium dioxide, hydrogenated oils, and L-cysteine. I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, but it's still disgusting that they get it from human hair from Chinese hair salons. That's just gross. Propylene glycol. This is actually used in beetle traps. Beetle traps. McDonald's uses it, not for beetle traps, but for salad glazes. They actually use it for their dressings. It's also used, if you're eating a McDonald's salad right now and you'd like a smoke, that's cool because it's also used as the electronic cigarette filler. Maybe you're constipated. It's also used as a laxative. But propylene glycol is good for you, right? Even in a variation of this, it is actually put in to vaccinations. And the best part about this, and let me see if I can find the exact section here in my book so I can confirm. I'll have to look it up here in the other book. But propylene glycol used in beetle traps, McDonald's salad glazes. I mean, these are just a couple places that I was able to look up. I mean, this isn't everywhere. Okay, there are dozens and hundreds of other different products that it's used in. Just like MSG, aspartame. I mean, it's not just a couple. Aspartame is in over 6,000 plus different types of products. I mean, that is a lot. It's hard to stay away from all of that. So, when you start to begin breaking down what we're putting into our body, I mean, outside of the disgusting Chinese hair and processed bread, you've got antifreeze. ethylene glycol. It's a material used in plastics, paint, dyes, and in the fabric industry for manufacturing polyester. It's a sweet liquid, which is why animals lick it up off the floor in the garage. It breaks down, much like aspartame and high fructose corn syrup, into chemicals that damage the brain and the central nervous system, creating neurological disorders. It also attacks kidneys and the heart. Ethylene glycol, a variation of propylene glycol, is antifreeze. Literally antifreeze. It's also used in electronic cigarette fillers, and it's a laxative, which is probably why you can't hold yourself together after you eat at McDonald's. Azodicarbonamides, banned in Australia, banned in Europe, banned in Singapore, but not in the McDonald's McRib sandwich. And it's supposedly being phased out of Subway breads. The McDonald's McRib, by the way, contains 70 different ingredients. It's a lot. You know, you're probably going to die of hunger by the time you get done reading and understanding what those ingredients are. Just don't buy it. It is literally plastic. Yoga mat plastic. Your body can't break that down. Chicken McNuggets, for example, at McDonald's, and it's the same way with most processed chicken products anywhere. They contain high doses of dextrose, which is sugar, sodium phosphate, autolyzed yeast extract, MSG, fiber dimethyl, I can't even pronounce this word. A good example, if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Fiber dimethylo polysiloxane. It is a type of silicone that's actually banned in Britain, and it's used as a breast implant and silly putty. So the next time you have a chicken McNugget, try to pull it apart and put it on the cartoon section of the newspaper and see if you can peel the cartoon off in the ink. MSG, monosodium glutamate, causes inflammation. The more and the higher the levels of glutamate rise in the body, neurons begin to fire out of order. The brain actually begins to die, which is why aspartame is so dangerous as a neurological toxin. Dr. Nancy Appleton, who I interviewed a couple of weeks ago, she was really nice and sent me 3 of her main books, one on soda, one called Suicide by Sugar, and the other one is called Stopping Inflammation. And in the book, she writes, quote, high blood levels of MSG can cross the normally protective blood-brain barrier. Glutamate, monosodium glutamate, is a neurotransmitter that is present in the extracellular fluid in very low concentrations. Processed foods contain excitotoxins. That's what MSG is. That's why it's when you hear that they're adding stuff to the food to make you crave it more, even though you're not hungry. That's an excitotoxin. That's MSG. Processed foods, she says, quote, contain excitotoxins, especially any type of commercial taste or flavor enhancer, such as hydrolyzed vegetable protein, soy protein extract, and yeast extract. She also says that MSG, or autolyzed yeast extract, can, quote, be labeled as natural flavorings. Did you hear that? Natural flavorings. MSG and or autolyzed yeast extract can be labeled as natural flavorings. Molasses can be a hidden ingredient for aspartame. Vanilla can be a hidden ingredient for aspartame. You have to read the label carefully. Look for the commas. Look for the pauses. Look for the the parentheses. TBHQ is another ingredient to stay away from. TBHQ, again, I can't really pronounce it, okay? Tertiary, Tertiary, that's the easy word. Butyl hydroquinone, BUTYLHYDROQUINONE. I mean, by the time I get done trying to pronounce that, I've starved to death at this point. Don't put this into your body. TBHQ is butane. It is actually lighter fluid. They spray it on the packages of food for freshness, quote unquote. Primarily at fast food restaurants, this is sprayed onto the boxes, chicken nuggets, whatever. I don't know whatever you're buying, the silly putty nuggets. So you're eating silly putty sprayed with lighter fluid. I mean, this is how dumb these people think we are. This is literally how dumb. They can spray lighter fluid on our food, and we just eat it and think it's okay. Propylene glycol, we already went over that. I must have broke that down twice. I've got a few notes here about some of these ingredients. Polysorbate 80, this is put into vaccines. And let's try to pronounce this together. Polyoxyethylene 80 sorbitin muleate. It causes sneezing, coughing, wheezing, basically inflammation, skin rashes, tumor growth, cancer, heart arrhythmia, stroke, and eczema. It's also known as E433 and Tween 80, TWEEN 80. It is put into the HPV and Gardasil vaccines. Yeah, you think your body reacting to a foreign invader is just the live or dead virus in the vaccine? No, it's probably the polysorbate 80. It's probably the formaldehyde. It's probably the heavy doses of mercury. Benzoic acid and paragons. Benzoic acid, which is what some of those other was the one thing I was reading earlier, is actually derived from benzoic acid. Let's see if I can find it here. Sodium benzene. No, that wasn't it. Anyway, it was one of the different types of salts that's actually derived from this type of acid, benzoic acid, and then paragons. And they are antibacterial, antifungal. That's why they're used in a lot of foods to prevent spoiling. They also cause hives, asthma, angioedema, and they come in a variety of names. Benzoic acid, sodium benzoate, methylparaben. Not paragons. I'm sorry, not paragons. Parabens. Excuse me. This is what you get for relying on autocorrect. It's parabens, which are in a lot of makeup. Methylparaben, propylparaben, and heptipylparaben. I mean, I can't even pronounce this. And I study and research and write about this. It's so hard to write in a book with these names because they're not actually recognized as real words. And they put them in your food. It's not real food either. We talked about last week, 2 to 16% of all beef that's considered 100% beef, all beef, period, at fast food places, restaurants, is not actually beef. It's literally 2 to 16% is beef. The rest is water content and added chemicals. Aspartame, of course, is the biggest, I think, to stay away from. It's derived from, or a combination of, aspartic acid and phenylalanine. High levels of phenylalanine, an amino acid, causes brain damage, seizures, dizziness, tremors, migraines, memory loss, slurred speech, confusion. You can add to that blindness and autism and any other neurological disorder that you can think of. That's aspartame, phenylalanine, and aspartic acid. Causes seizures, dizziness, tremors, migraines, memory loss, slurred speech, confusion, blindness, autism, neurological disorders, brain damage. That's aspartame for you. That's MSG for you. Now, in the final half hour we have here, I'll take a quick break. We'll come back. And I've got a few other food ingredients to stay away from. And we'll also talk a little bit about the different food colorings that are added to foods, even though they're banned in almost every other country, but they're okay here. You are listening to The Secret Teachings. I am your host, Ryan Gable. Our website is www.thesecretteachings.info. That's www.thesecretteachings.info. Please go to the website. Please help support the show. Under the flashing arrow, you'll see a donation tab for PayPal. Please donate a couple of dollars, or donate $50, $20, $10, $1, whatever. Please support this program. You can download today's episode, which I hopefully imagine will be very important in your archive and in your arsenal to help you with purchasing certain foods at the store. I've got videos up about some of these ingredients at thesecretteachings.info under the video tab. It's all free to access. Just ask for your financial support, And if you can't donate financially, it's not a problem. Please pass this show along to your friends, especially those of you out there who know and who have told me that this show helps you. Please spread the word about the Secret Teachings. You don't have to force it down people's throats, but send it along in an email. Hey, this is a cool show. Check it out. And maybe people will listen a half hour here, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and they'll get educated, and they can go out and educate themselves even more, and they'll know more than I do. I mean, I'm not sitting here on a high horse, on a pedestal, and saying I know more than you. I'm just saying this is what I found. I've removed these ingredients from my life. I got a shower filter, which is something I actually had to buy separately from food. It eliminated chlorine and eliminated the dry skin. Doctors tried dozens, literally dozens of creams for my skin when I was younger. None of them worked. I try a shower filter, gets rid of chlorine, boom, skin problem clears up. It's that simple. And the food is the same way. If you're sick, it's probably what you're eating or what you're not eating. Your body has been thrown out of homeostasis. Your body has been thrown out of balance. You need to rebalance the system. The only way to do that is by taking charge, relying on you yourself only. You can get information from doctors, nutritionists, which is there's a big line there between the two. You can get information from independent researchers like myself, but please do the research for yourself. Check out what I'm telling you and take responsibility for yourself and your family. This is The Secret Teachings. We will be right back.
There is a better radio show, beyond that which is known to the people. It is a radio show more informative than others, and as timeless as infinity. It is the equilibrium between light and dark, between the sheeple and the paranormal, and it is heard at the base of man's ignorance and at the summit of his knowledge. This is the radio show of imagination, a show we call The Secret Teachings.
As we move to expand and grow the Secret Teachings radio show and the website, thesecretteachings.info, with videos, the free show archive, and much more, we need your support. Please consider donating a few dollars a month, especially if you already enjoy free access to our archive of full-length shows. Visit thesecretteachings.info and click the PayPal tab at the top right of the page. I'm Ryan Gable, host of The Secret Teachings, and we can't do this without your support. Please visit thesecretteachings.info and click the PayPal tab. My name is Ryan Gable, host of the Secret Teachings radio show, and in 2013 I published my first book, The Grand Illusion: Slaves to Perception, which is broken into 3 parts and breaches 725 full-length, no-filler, 12-font pages of information that will lead you from the nature of reality and the human species, our origins and purpose, to suppressed historical and scientific facts that can revolutionize the world we perceive to live. The book details how our planet is being terraformed, perhaps by extraterrestrials, through chemtrails, poisoned food, and the genetic modification of crops and nature. The content then flows through a history of finance, a form of modern-day slavery, and leads us into the detailed arena of occultism through secret societies, symbols, and mass satanic sacrifices from September 11th to the 2012 London Olympics. It provides highly unique points of view on the paranormal, political issues, health and vaccines, and weaves together hundreds of families linked by blood throughout the few corporations that control the world. If you want an in-depth but easy-to-understand book for both novices and experts alike, The Grand Illusion: Slaves to Perception is the book you want. You can purchase your copy at thesecretteachings.info or by searching for the title on Amazon.com. Every purchase goes to supporting one of the last true forms of conscious, unbiased forms of expression. That's The Grand Illusion: Slaves to Perception from thesecretteachings.info or Amazon.com.
You are listening to The Secret Teachings with host Ryan Gable.
Do you enjoy The Secret Teachings? Well, now you have the opportunity to help inform others while supporting the program by purchasing our newly available t-shirts both for men and women, along with other merchandise by visiting thesecretteachings.info and clicking the shop tab. We have posters, stickers, and a variety of coffee mugs and cups that you can also use for tea. Whether you spark conversation with the Secret Teachings t-shirts or you want to decorate your home with an awesome poster, just visit thesecretteachings.info and click the store tab. We have what you need and what you want at thesecretteachings.info, so start shopping, start informing, and start supporting the broadcast at thesecretteachings.info. I'm Ryan Gable, and as always, thank you for your support. With the medical industry being the leading cause of death in this country, I mean, it's up to you. You want to listen to the PhD's perception of what you should eat and what you shouldn't eat because they can pronounce really fancy words and because they have a white lab coat on and a rectal thermometer they can stick up your ass. You want to listen to them who kill more people than, I don't know, illegal drugs that kill more people than most of the diseases they're supposed to treat you for? Or you want to listen to somebody who's independent, who's not being paid, and who has felt the healthy effects of eating this way? It's up to you. You know, I'm not going to shove a rectal thermometer up your ass or give you any type of big pharma terrorist pills, but it's up to you what you want to believe.
These companies know that it's bad because they start removing ingredients because people start complaining. But up until people start complaining, they'll just leave it in because they make more money with it being a chemical concocted goo than actually having any kind of real ingredients.
If you look at a company like Amy's will say non-GMO. Amy's will sometimes say organic, but they don't actually have the third-party verification, which in that case means that you have to rely on the integrity of that company to determine whether or not they're telling you the truth. These products that are 100% USDA organic, that are organic or made with organic ingredients, are still a step above the conventional type products. And I think it would be much better to eat these than it would be to eat the conventional stuff. But at the same time, if you're buying a product in a box, I mean, most of the time, it's not really that good for you, and it's probably always processed. And you probably really don't want to be eating it too often.
They think you're dumb, and they think you're stupid, and they think that they can just put anything they want to before enough people start complaining and get sick. But we just need to show them that, there are people out there that are awake and with their eyes open, and we're not going to eat this. We're not going to support your company, and we're not going to buy your garbage food.
We are not going to support those companies. We are not going to buy that garbage food. We are going to stand up, declare independence, and be truly free. And that includes free of all of these chemicals and additives that are added either for a eugenics population control agenda or simply to keep us sick as a medical conspiracy, or just simply to make more money. Either way, it's despicable, it's disgraceful, it's dishonorable, and it is absolutely an atrocity that so many people are kept ill by the foods they eat. They are kept ill by the foods they don't eat because of the deception that is launched by these multinational corporations and by the big biotech industry conquering this world, owning patents on life, on seeds, shutting down small farms. This is Agenda 21. This is Agenda 2030. The second goal of the 17 goals of the new Sustainable Development Agenda I went over last Sunday. It says end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. The opposite of all of this is to access and gain control of all agriculture through the modification and patenting of life, consolidating all food sources and distribution, and the elimination of all competition, i.e. small independent farmers and people that are able to produce food for themselves. Just like that tomato example I gave you last week. They say, we don't want you growing tomatoes. You could give it to your neighbor. They could get sick. You could get in trouble. They don't care if you're sick. They're putting rat poison in your food. They don't care if you die. It's about controlling the food, controlling the supply of the food, ration cards, telling you when and where you can eat, how much you can eat, what you can eat, and brainwashing you into believing that foods that have been healthy and healed elements for thousands of years without big pharma around are bad for you. And that's not the case. That's not the case at all. Welcome back to The Secret Teachings, our website, www.thesecretteachings.info. Here on the last segment today, I wanted to go into a little bit of detail about the different ingredients that we've been consuming, and more specifically, detail about why this is important. So some of the other ingredients are brominated vegetable oil, BVO. It was approved in the 1970s to be added to drinks or to food. It's basically put into drinks. It is used in beverages like Mountain Dew, Sun-Kissed, which doesn't actually contain any type of real fruit, Powerade, Gatorade, Squirt, and many other sodas. By consuming BVO, it creates lesions of the skin, memory loss, nerve disorder, again attacking the neurological system, and although it's banned in Europe and banned in Japan, it's legal in the U.S. By the way, I mentioned Sun-Kissed, and a couple of months ago, Mike D., my co-host who joined me last week on this program, who will be here tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern to midnight with me for the 5th anniversary of The Secret Teachings. 5 years it's been. And he will be here tomorrow night. He sent me a picture of a soda that a guy at work was drinking. Mike D. wasn't drinking it. And it was a Sun-Kissed little 12-ounce can, and it actually had pictures of fruit on it, pictures of oranges, and then on the back it said, does not contain real oranges. It's just like the Dairy Queen. It does not contain real ice cream. Technically, our ice cream does not qualify to be considered real ice cream. It says that on the website. But these Dairy Queen trolls that have their genitals not a McFlurry, but these Dairy Queen trolls who have their private parts inserted into a Blizzard are obsessed with it being called real ice cream. And that's subconsciously a mental illness because they know it's not real. They know it's not good for them, and they're eating it anyway. And I feel sorry for these trolls, really. I mean, it's disgusting. Some other ingredients to look out for: sodium sulfate, otherwise known as E221. It creates asthmatic problems, basically inflammation, rashes, can cause death actually by shutting down the airway, which is, again, inflammation. You've got sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide can lead to low blood pressure, again, asthma, hypotension, not hypertension, but hypotension, which is low blood pressure, a flushing of the skin, tingling sensation, anaphylactic shock. It's not even recommended to children. The International Labor Organization of the United Nations says that you should avoid it, especially if you suffer from conjunctivitis, bronchitis, emphysema, bronchial asthma, or cardiovascular disease. But it's found in beer, soft drinks, dried fruit juices, wine, vinegar, and potato products. Products, not potatoes, by the way. Products. If you're eating something that's potato product, like chips, sulfur dioxide might be put into that. Food dyes: blue 1, blue 2, red 3, red 40, green 3, yellow 5, and yellow 6. These are not good for you. These are not good for you. Blue 1, skin irritations it causes. It causes irritation of the liver, kidneys, creates tumors in rats, specifically in their kidneys. It's also, listen to this, blue 1, in some scientific studies, has also been shown to literally damage your DNA. That is, especially coming up on Halloween, All Hallows Moss, or Samhain, Samhain, which is New Year. Don't let your kids eat the candy that's got the blue 1 in it. Oh, that's just, really, I mean, we're taking parents and kids, we're breaking them up, taking kids away from their parents because their parents have a political affiliation that the government disagrees with, but you're going to let your kids be fed blue 1, which actually alters their DNA? What is wrong with you parents? Blue 2 causes brain cancer in rats, abnormal cell development, and gliomas tumors, which is brain or spinal tumors. Blue 1 and blue 2. Read some of the ingredients on the products for Halloween or Easter. I mean, it's everywhere. Chocolate, candies. It's just, most of it's plastic, sugar, and dye. That's all that it is. And parents know, oh, it's bad for you, don't eat that. Well, why are you letting your kid why are you punishing your kid with what they perceive to be a reward. Teach them that a reward is not candy that's coated in poison, that a reward is a pack of crayons from the dollar store, that a reward is an action figure. I mean, something else. Plus this whole system of reward and punishment for every little thing, it really messes kids up, okay? This is just really ridiculous. Red 2, here's another one. Red 2 is banned in certain countries. It is, and this is the only one, banned in Europe, banned in America, but legal in the European Union. It's actually illegal to use Red 2 here in America, but if you live in Europe, it's perfectly legal. So if you live in Europe, Red 2, which causes tumors of the bladder in rats exposed, don't eat this. The opposite is true for what is used here in the U.S., Red 40. Now, if you're in the European Union, Red 40 is illegal, causes the same problems, but it's legal in the U.S. I mean, it's really backwards. We'll run through these really quick. Red 3. There's other names for this. Erythromycin, Red 3. There's other names for these other ones, too. Blue 1 is also known as Brilliant Blue, FCF, FD&C Blue 1. It's banned in Italy, Switzerland, France, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Greece, and so on and so forth. Blue 2 is also known as Indigotine. Red 2 is known as Amaranth. It's a toxin. Here's Red 40. Red 40, one of the most common food dyes. It's also known as Allura Red or Red number 40. It basically debilitates the immune system and, again, attacks the DNA of mice. And it causes hypersensitivity and cancer in humans. It's known, but it's legal. Green 3, FD&C Green 3, it's also known as Green 1724. I just laugh at these names. Or Food Green 3, or Solid Green FCF. Scientists know it causes bladder cancer. It causes cancer and tumors of the testes, irritation of the eyes, skin, digestive system. Here's what's really disgusting about this. It's actually used in vegetables. What kind of vegetable needs to be dyed green? Most vegetables are green anyway. Why are we putting green food dye in vegetables? It's illegal in the European Union. Here's some of the worst ones. Yellow 6, FD&C Yellow 6, also known as Sunset Yellow FCF, or here's a tongue twister, CI 13985. Hey kids, what are you having for Halloween? I'm having CI 13985. This sounds like some Brave New World Aldous Huxley candy. But they put this in your food. Yellow food coloring causes adrenal tumors in animals, migraines, massive migraines, hyperactivity in humans, especially children. Hyperactivity is what they call ADHD, which just recently was reported is a made-up disease, like I've been saying for years, like other doctors and scientists long before I was born, saying that these neurological disorders that do exist, don't exist, and the ones that don't exist do exist. So autism is a real neurological disorder, and we know why it's caused through the different food additives, vaccines, overdosing of aluminum and different metals in the brain, MSG, which actually can cause neurological disorders. So can aspartame, which breaks down your brain, causes blindness, dizziness, confusion, memory loss. Those are a lot of the causes of autism and why the numbers and the rates are skyrocketing so much. But doctors will say, well, the reason that kids are acting out is because they need more medication. I mean, really? So we'll give them heroin, basically, or cocaine. But we'll just label it Ritalin. You're depressed? Take this antidepressant. But wait a minute, doctor. It actually says on the box, may cause depression, may cause suicidal thoughts. I don't want to be suicidal. I'm depressed right now, but I'm not suicidal. Take the pill. What, you don't trust in medicine? You don't trust in doctors? You don't trust in science? What, are you one of those conspiracy nuts? We'll make sure you never have a job again, you prole. Yellow 5, probably the worst one, I think. Known also as E102 and tartrazine. FD&C Yellow 5 causes hypersensitivity. I know that's why I had such skin problems as a kid. I guarantee you that. Hyperactivity, loss of concentration. I mean, basically, Yellow 5, basically, the symptoms of Yellow 5 are basically the symptoms of what they consider to be ADHD. But hey, Hey, Johnny, if you're a good boy, you calm down and listen to what the teacher says, not only will you get good grades on your test, we'll give you some candy. It's got yellow 5 in it. It'll make you go insane, and your parents will put you on drugs, and they'll drag you to a mental institution. But hey, the state is God. And you, my friend, are obsolete. It also causes migraines, anxiety, and fatigue. It's also used in I've seen it used in vegetables, like green beans, frozen green beans, yellow 5. At Whole Foods, by the way. So I can't even imagine what's at Walmart or Winco or Kroger or Publix. Read, even if you're buying vegetables frozen, read the ingredients. It should just say organic green beans, not green beans, yellow 5, green 3. I mean, they're already green. You don't need to add more food coloring to them. Luckily, yellow 5, which is derived from coal tar, and so is the acid the Nazis used in their T4 vaccine programs to sterilize and to exterminate political dissidents. But this chemical is also partially what aspartame breaks down to in the body. You get a double dosage of it, a triple dose, a quadruple dose. Most of these food colorings are what causes the neurological disorders in adults. It contributes to neurological disorders in children. Stay away from the food dyes. And if you think that they're restricted to food, they're not restricted to food. And I'm talking specifically to the moms or the dads out there, single or not, I don't care. If you're in charge of making sure your child, primarily you're in charge of making sure your child is healthy, or if they're sick, getting medication for them, most medications are laced with high fructose corn syrup, mercury, which breaks down into formaldehyde in the body, and they are laced with synthetic sweeteners on top of that, which debilitates the immune system and prevents you from healing more so, and they contain these yellow 5, yellow 6 food colorings that further break down the immune system, that further damage the brain of a developing child. Now, the parents that say, well, Ryan, I want my kids to be healthy. I want to take them and I want to shake them. Listen to what I'm saying. I can show you the scientific studies. It is the food coloring. It is the HFCS. It is the aspartame. It is the synthetic chemicals that are put into what they call medication that makes your children sicker. And the response I get back is, well, I just want them to be healthy. That's why I feed it to them. It's like, shake the mic. It's not making them healthy. It's making them sicker. Here's the proof. Bam. Well, I want to make them. Someone said to me the other day, I'd rather have my kid autistic than dead. And I said, wait a minute, you're not understanding. The vaccine is what causes the autism. If you don't get them vaccinated, they've got a better chance of not getting the flu. That's just recently reported. There was like ABC News. You double the chances of getting the flu when you get the flu shot. So why get it? And people say, well, I'd rather have a sick child than a dead child. What type of circular logic is that? Why would your child be sick if you didn't get them vaccinated? They'll get sick if you do get them vaccinated, and they'll develop a blood disorder or a neurological disorder on top of that. It should be, I'd rather have a healthy child, so let's cut out all the candy and all the junk food and all the fast food and reward them with other things. If you have a little girl, buy her a doll, a bear, a stuffed animal as a reward. Well, that gets expensive. You don't have to give them a reward every time they speak, every time they put their clothes on or put their underwear on straight. I mean, really, we're giving awards out for everything now? If you have a little boy, get him get him an action figure. I don't know. Not that doesn't contribute to the war culture if you're buying them G.I. Joes and stuff, but Jesus criminy, are we really this stupid? Don't feed your kids this stuff anymore. This is what causes the problems. Anyway, I am Ryan Gable. This is The Secret Teachings. The website, www.thesecretteachings.info. Just remember, I'm not on a pedestal. I'm not King Ryan. I'm bringing you, and I have brought you today and last week, all the information that I have found. I mean, it's really not all the information. It's a small fraction of the information that I have found that I implement in my own life and how I try to live my own life. I'm not going to exactly give you details of how you should eat because that is that's based on your own personality, your likes, your dislikes, your allergies. You have to decide that for yourself. I'm just giving you guidelines of how to purchase food. You don't have to eat like me. I'm giving you guidelines of how to purchase food. This episode, last week's episode, part 1 and 2, available at thesecretteachings.info under the Secret Teachings archive. Listen, the archive is free. The website's free to access everywhere. The videos are free. The information is free. Everything. The show is obviously 99% of why the website's there as an archive. All the episodes free. Last week, part 1 of this, and then Richard Spence on Aleister Crowley, Secret Agent 666. We talked to him on Sunday of last week. Remember, we'll be back here tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern to 12 midnight every Sunday, and then we'll be back next Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am Ryan Gable. Please go to the website, donate under the flashing arrow where it says PayPal. If you don't have money to donate, please support the program by sending the audio archive file out to your friends, post it in social media, whatever you can do. If you do have money, please donate to the program. If not, and you'd like to support us in another way, we've got T-shirts, coffee mugs, sweaters. We've even got ProPure G2 water filtration systems you can buy now. Purify your water of fluoride, an all-in-one system. Purified of glyphosate, a carcinogenic chemical used globally now. The World Health Organization shows that it's cancerous. Gets rid of parasites, bacteria. Or, of course, you have my books that you can get at thesecretteachings.info or Amazon.com. The Grand Illusion, Slaves to Perception, or False Prophets, and The Lovers of Children. Again, we will be back next Saturday, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and next Sunday, 9 p.m. to midnight Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow night should be a lot of fun. The 5th anniversary of the Secret Teachings radio program. I'll be here with Mike D. and another special guest. And in the final hour, we'll be talking with Brian Ashen, a real-life magician, but not like Harry Potter. Stay tuned to find out exactly what he does, and you'll learn a little bit of a history with a lot of fun sound clips, and including how the audio in the show used to sound back in the old days. That's tomorrow night. I'm Ryan Gable. Do the research, do the math, stop letting people tell you what to think, including me. Do the research on all this food, all the products, all the ingredients, and start connecting the dots between seemingly unconnected people, places, and events in the world that seems so complex will actually begin to make sense. Auf Wiedersehen und Namaste.
The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98Talk.com.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
This is Slickery Trigger from Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.